very interesting responses about their awareness of Bitcoin, how likely they are to purchase or have they already purchased Bitcoin. And we've been through some of it earlier in the show tonight. So just a quick rundown here of, if you're just tuning in, what you've missed. The numbers are up. So despite the bear market, they're comparing this study that they did last week to a similar study they did in October of 2017. The prices of Bitcoin were about the same, but in October there was a huge run-up, a record-setting run-up that was going on, and over the last 18 months it's been kind of on the downside from what was originally a record-setting December of 2017. So these are the numbers are up as far as all of the numbers of interest and purchase and all of it. Let's see, 89% of Americans are aware that Bitcoin exists. That's up from 77%. And they do breakdowns on demographics as well, at least by age. Familiarity, they said that approximately, 43% of Americans are somewhat familiar with Bitcoin, whereas, according to this, 43% of Americans also have a positive view, meaning they think it's a positive innovation in financial technology. All of these numbers are up from 2017. Conviction, the percentage of people that strongly or somewhat agree that most people will be using Bitcoin in the next 10 years, up to 33%. So a third of Americans, averaged across all the age ranges, think that people are going to be using it. The majority of people will be using Bitcoin in the next 10 years. Propensity to purchase, 27% say they're going to buy Bitcoin within the next 5 years. And further, when asked what they would prefer to own $1,000 worth of, 21% of Americans said they would prefer Bitcoin to government bonds. That's up from 18%.
That's smart.
In October. 17% said they would prefer Bitcoin to stocks, up from 14% in October of 2017. 14% they would prefer Bitcoin to real estate, up from 12%. And 12% said they would prefer Bitcoin to gold, up from 8%. So up by 50%. From 8% to 12% from 2017.
The real estate and gold numbers are ones that I find kind of interesting because those are kind of more stable historically.
Traditional, pretty stable, except for the real estate bubble. But
and especially, real estate in terms of actually investing. But I mean, a lot of the people who would say something like this are people who don't necessarily own their own property. So, that's where, as an investment, I think it's a very good idea to own where you live.
And
right?
It sure is, because you can live in your investment.
Right, you're living in your investment, and what that's doing is it's, in terms of your income, you're not making somebody else wealthy, right? I mean, so that's a kind of a huge bonus.
And so here's the big one. Here's the final question on the survey, and that is, who owns it? Because one thing to say you're going to own it. It's one thing to say you are aware that it exists, but how many Americans actually own some Bitcoin? Now, we don't know how much Bitcoin, but of the people surveyed, of the over 2,000 Americans surveyed last week by Harris, 11% of Americans own some Bitcoin.
Huh.
And when I reported these numbers in the chat group that we have here on Telegram in the Monadnock region of New Hampshire, actually one of our co-hosts, Chris Wade, on Friday nights, he balked.
Right.
He said he didn't believe that there were that many people that owned Bitcoin. And I said,
a little hard to believe.
I don't think it's hard to believe. 11% isn't a whole lot.
That's a huge number.
It's a big number. There's no doubt about it. But
I mean, that is a number that would 10% is the tipping point.
Well, maybe we're there.
So if we're at the tipping point, that does mean that within 5 years we could probably expect Bitcoin to be like $1 million.
Maybe McAfee is right. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But my point was, I think what Chris was basing his opinion on, besides his general skepticism towards surveys and polls, was that you don't see it a lot. Like even when we go out to our crypto group meetups, some people don't even pay with cryptocurrency. And that's part of my point, is just because you have it doesn't mean that you're flashing it around. Just because you have Bitcoin doesn't mean that you're doing anything with it besides sitting on it. So the person who spends Bitcoin is a rarer bird than the person who holds Bitcoin. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's unbelievable here. And when you break down the age demographics, according to the survey, where did it go? 8 to 16% of 18 to 34-year-olds. 16% of them own Bitcoin. Does that sound more plausible that of younger people, about 1.5 of them out of 10
still
own
sounds
Bitcoin?
like huge to me, but I don't.
35 to 44-year-olds, 12% of them said they own Bitcoin. 45 to 54-year-olds, 4%. 55 to 64-year-olds, 4%. And 65 plus, 2%. So 2% of retirees have gotten into it.
And maybe the tipping point here is 20%. So
okay,
we would need to double those numbers.
They're up since October of 2017. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So this is all good news. If you want to comment, you're welcome to join us.
Which is also interesting considering how poorly Bitcoin has been performing over the past couple of years, and yet these numbers have been going up.
And remember, these numbers are, they asked these questions back in 2017 as well, and all the numbers are going up. So the trend on acceptance, the trend on interest, the trend on awareness, the trend on purchasing, it's all going up. So if that continues, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, because people have good experiences with cryptocurrency generally. Yeah, it's, the wallets can be a little buggy here and there. We're still early on. There's not a whole lot of businesses that accept them in real life yet. So you're right, Johnson. It seems like there's not much happening, but maybe there's more under the surface than we're aware of, because there's no reason why somebody would lie to the polling, survey here. The questions they're asking here aren't tricky kind of we want to manipulate your answer kind of questions.
Unless there are people that feel bad that they never did buy Bitcoin and they're like, yeah, I own Bitcoin.
Could be, but
yeah.
Statistically, of 2,000 people surveyed, I think it's plausible. So we'll see. This is interesting numbers. Keep your eyes on
this. Of the 2,000 people surveyed, at least 200 of them said that they own Bitcoin.
Approximately, yeah. That's right.
And it's like, where did they source these people from?
It was an online poll, but it's Harris, which is a respected polling firm.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They do talk a little bit more about their methodology here. It says, survey conducted last week, April 23rd through 25th, among 2,029 adults by Harris Poll on behalf of Blockchain Capital via its Harris On Demand Omnibus product. Figures for age, sex, race, ethnicity, education, region, and household income were weighted where necessary to bring them into line with their actual proportions in the population. Propensity score weighing was used to adjust for respondents' propensity to be online. All sample surveys and polls, whether or not they use probability sampling, are subject to multiple sources of error, which are most often not possible to quantify or estimate, including sample error coverage error associated with non-response.
It sounds like they did a little, more than one might even expect to try and balance for, I can't remember the word right now, but
adjust for respondents' propensity to be online. Whatever that
bias.
means.
They attempted to adjust for bias. The bias of it being an online poll, the bias of the people who are answering the questions, that they attempted to skew towards.
Here you go. Respondents for the survey were selected from those among those who have agreed to participate in our surveys. So Harris has an online polling thing where it's not like your typical newspaper poll or whatever, which can be manipulated. This is an actual scientific online poll in that, at the very least, scientific if you consider pre-responsive.
So these are people who are heavily online and interested in
being polled, basically. So there's more coming up here. If you want to share your calls and thoughts, because how the hell do you do a phone poll anymore? Is that even possible? To get a good spread, it's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The Free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. Themorganreport.com. Themorganreport.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free if you want. You can join us here. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, the latest from the Venezuelan attempted coup, allegedly. That's on the way, plus a Border Patrol-related story that Johnson's going to share with us here shortly. And your calls and thoughts also are welcome about whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. Also, if you are an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, you really ought to get over to liberty.menu. That allows you to promote the thing that you do, your business. Maybe you create digital content that you want to promote, get some more viewers or listeners to that. Maybe there's an event that you're behind or you're interested in promoting. They want more people to attend. You can put all those things up on liberty.menu with your profile there, and it's free to do it. So do you want free publicity for the thing you do? If so, if you're a liberty-minded person, you belong over at liberty.menu. So get on over there and create an account if you don't yet have one, and then use code FTL if you would like on your account, and you'll get a special Free Talk Live listener badge because we can't give you a discount because it's free. So go to liberty.menu as we continue here. Before we get into your story about the Border Patrol, Johnson, I did want to address what Stephen TVP said in our DLive chat over on dlive.lrn.fm. He alleges that Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. He claims that crypto is as Ponzi as it comes. And I'm sorry, but no, not in any way, shape, or form.
Is he being paid by Was it Jamie Dimon to say that?
Jamie Dimon for Chase, I think Chase Bank.
Yeah.
That does sound like something.
They run a pretty much, what is pretty much a Ponzi scheme, or not necessarily Ponzi scheme in structure, but it is certainly their, the house kind of wins.
Oh yeah, the house usually wins if you're the bank because you've got government guarantees.
Bailouts, right.
Yeah, bailouts. Look, a Ponzi scheme is.
They certainly don't want you to become your own bank, for sure.
Now, look, I want to be clear. There are Ponzi schemes in the world of crypto.
Yeah,
there are scam artists who would love to have you pay them a bunch of crypto into their website, and then they promise to give you way more money than what you paid in. Okay, so if somebody tells you, you give me a whole Bitcoin, I'll give you back a Bitcoin and a half.
Right.
If somebody tells you that, red alert.
Yeah.
That's, red flag. This is a potential scam, likely scam if it sounds too good to be true. Even if they're guaranteeing you like 2% or something like that.
Right.
It still sounds too good. It's probably too good to be true. Look out. Make sure you do your due diligence on this. And there are definitely some websites that are like that will absolutely take Bitcoin and other cryptos from you, and then maybe you'll get it back if you're early enough in the scheme. Because that's, Ponzi scheme is where a person promises you some sort of return on an investment. Should you invest in this scheme and other people continue to invest in the scheme, over time, the people who invested early do see returns. Because as long as the scheme continues to get people to invest, then the early investors will get money out of it, which means they'll sing the praises of the scheme. They may truly believe in it, right? They may not be scammers themselves. They may actually be true believers in it, right? So they may not be lying to you when they tell you that this is working, because it's working for them. But when the suckers run out, that's when the Ponzi scheme collapses. Once they've managed to trick as many people as they can and nobody else is willing to invest, then there's no fresh money coming into the system. And because there was never a product originally, it was just an investment scheme, it was just a money-moving scam, then it all comes crashing down. And people who put money in don't get a single dime back. And the people who put money in the beginning stop getting more money at that point. And then a lot of people get angry and criminal charges get brought. So if there's a cryptocurrency that's promising you returns, look out, because that could be a scam.
Yeah.
And there are thousands of cryptos out there, so I can't tell you which one of them, at the low levels might be scams. But the ones on the top tier, many of them have been very vetted, looked at very closely by people. I'm not saying it's a perfect world. There's, it's unregulated, which is a good thing because it means that people can create cryptocurrencies without asking for permission.
I mean, look at Mt. Gox, right? That was the top crypto exchange. And
it was the only one for a long time.
Right. And they, vanished with a lot of people's money.
Yeah. Well, if you put your crypto into somebody else's hands and you trust them to take care of it, you better trust them, because if they walk away with it, then what are you going to do about it?
Right.
But it's not
a lot more like gold than if somebody else is holding all your coins.
But Mt. Gox wasn't a Ponzi scheme. It was just a scam.
Yeah.
Right? So not everything that's a scam is a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme is a specific type of sort of pyramid investment fakery, basically, that usually always has a promise of return, a ridiculous promise of return, an unrealistic promise of it, and is always predicated on more people being scammed into this system. And it always comes down at some point. But cryptocurrency on its own is just a method of transmitting value from one point to another through cryptographically secure channels using blockchain technology, typically. That means that, as you mentioned earlier, has a public blockchain. Most of them are public. Some are privacy coins, but the public ones, you can examine them. They're open source. So it's totally transparent, unlike a Ponzi scheme. There's no transparency with a Ponzi scheme.
Speaking of scams, or at least my opinion of a scam, have you heard the news that Bitcoin SV is proudly announcing that they're going to try and start Hash Wars 2.0.
Oh, they're going to try again the thing that failed for them the first time?
Right, and resulted in them losing a significant amount of value. I guess they just want to try and kill themselves.
They want to sink the coin, basically.
They're going to sink themselves, yeah. And they're trying to attack, Are
they going after Bitcoin Cash again?
Yeah, of course. That's what they're going to do. I mean, and it's just like, well, I guess you want to just damage yourself into the ground. I mean, at what point does a crypto, disappear? I mean, I guess it could just go on forever.
If people stop mining it. right, then it basically disappears, at least for all effective purposes. They could start mining it again.
Craig could just be mining it himself,
Sure. Well, I remember my roommate had, God, what was it called? One of those it was one of the myriad of cryptocurrencies that had failed. I mined it just for fun for a little while and mined like, a million of them or something like that. But you can't use them anywhere. They're not accepted on an exchange. The idea was that they were going to restart this old cryptocurrency. And I don't think it ever did get restarted. It was probably a waste of my time to mine it. But for the moment, it was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cute.
It won't
Indocoin. That's what it was.
Yeah, it won't restart until like 10 years down the road from now, when you've lost the wallet.
And I'll be like, damn
that's when they'll restart it, and it'll like jump up in value.
Right. And then I'll have 1 million, and I won't know where they are.
So that's how the crypto world tends to work. Right?
So that's an example of a crypto that came out. They tried Indocoin. It died. Nobody, at some point it stopped being mined, and then at some point somebody else decided, I want to try to bring this back. So they started mining it again. And since they were like the only miner, they got a bunch of it, and other people jumped in. And, if you can get it listed on an exchange, then maybe that'll help it become tradable, and then maybe it will stick around. I don't know. It seems like if somebody stops mining coin, it goes away. I know that Michael Dean had to deal with this situation with his coin at one point, which was called Bipcoin, Bipcoin, Bipcoin. And he tried to actually kill his coin, but somebody was continuing to mine it or whatever, and so it kept going. So he couldn't, once it's out there in the wild, you can't decide what to do with it at that point.
You can't kill the Bitcoin. It's under the BIPCOT no-gov license.
That's right.
So
so where are we going next here, Johnson?
Boston, I guess.
Do we have to?
That's where the article. I know, but that's where this article is out of, or this press release from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. And this news is from today. The Electronic Frontier Foundation and the ACLU today asked a federal court to rule without trial that the Department of Homeland Security violates the First and Fourth Amendments by searching travelers' smartphones and laptops at airports and other U.S. ports of entry without a warrant. The request for summary judgment comes after the groups obtained documents and deposition testimony revealing that U.S. citizens and Border Protection and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement authorize border officials to search travelers' phones and laptops for general law enforcement purposes and consider requests from other government agencies when deciding whether to conduct such warrantless searches.
So wait a minute. So they're saying the Border Patrol is doing other law enforcement agencies' bidding?
I guess so, yeah.
Meaning if a suspect from Albuquerque is coming across the border and somebody knows it in the Albuquerque Police Department and they call up their buddy at the Border Patrol and they say, hey, Johnson's coming across. He'll be coming through today. Can you go ahead and just take a look at his stuff?
Right.
So they're doing searches for other police without
it appears
legal
that's
authority.
The case, that they've received documents that seem to point at that truth.
And this is something the EFF has actually been fighting generally for a few years now. Is these Border Patrol searches at the border? I've been subject
making
to
progress today. Yes.
Yeah, and I've been subject to one of these things, and I'm traveling again internationally in a week, and so I'm already preparing for another 3-hour detention. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's Dr. Sonia Bacha on The Doctors.
So this is a product we're going to see if it works. It's called Instantly Ageless, and the idea is that it works very quickly. Is you just need a very small amount, and then you apply it to areas where you might be a little bit puffy. I have just looked at what's in this product, and one of them is something called argireline, which is sort of a darling in dermatology right now. It's a peptide or a protein that actually relaxes the muscle. It's also called Botox in a bottle. The other active ingredient in this is silicates, which are almost act like a clay. They're minerals, and they're making the skin sort of tighter. It's actually increasing the surface tension on the skin to push that herniated fat pad back.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,284. Silver at $14.96. And Bitcoin is trading around $5,251. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure.
You're listening to Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, live 24/7 at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,284. Silver at $14.96, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,251. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Vice President Mike Pence confirmed Tuesday that the Trump administration is firmly on the side of the coup plotters in Venezuela, as violent clashes between the elected government and opposition forces led by Juan Guaido quickly escalated. Mint Press News reports Pence's affirmation of U.S. support for the ongoing coup attempt in Venezuela came just hours after Guaido, surrounded by heavily armed soldiers and armored vehicles, called for a military uprising against the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. Vice President's statement of support for the coup plot was echoed by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and National Security Advisor John Bolton. Bolton, who has repeatedly threatened the elected Venezuelan government in the weeks leading up to Tuesday's attempted coup, urged members of the military to defect and join the side of the coup plotters. Washington significantly escalated its unilateral coercive measures in August 2017, when the Venezuelan government and state oil company were cut off from financial markets. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing for the Muslim Brotherhood to be labeled a terror group at the urging of Egypt's president, who visited the White House earlier this month. National Security Advisor John Bolton and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reportedly already support the designation, But officials at the Pentagon and elsewhere have been opposed and have been seeking more limited action. A senior U.S. official confirmed the request asked of Trump to make the designation, which Egypt has already done, in a private meeting during a visit to Washington on April 9. The anti-media reports that after the meeting, a bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers raised concerns about Egypt's record on human rights, new legislation to keep the president in office until 2030, and planned Russian arms purchases. If successful, the designation is likely to impact several U.S. mosques and Muslim organizations that have links to Brotherhood-affiliated groups or individuals. A new report on antimicrobial resistance calls for greater action by stakeholders at all levels, lest so-called superbugs claim 10 million lives a year. According to the Mind Unleashed, the report was released Monday by the UN Interagency Coordination Group on Antimicrobial Resistance. The report states, quote, unless the world acts urgently, antimicrobial resistance will have disastrous impact within a generation. The threat of antimicrobial resistance is already deadly, with 700,000 people dying each year as a result of drug-resistant diseases. There's also a problem of inequity and a lack of affordable access, which the report links to the deaths of nearly 6 million people annually, including 1 million children who die of preventable sepsis and pneumonia. Fast forward to 2050, and the report says AMR could cause as many as 10 million deaths each year under a worst-case scenario. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Free Talk Live.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. Sounds like some interesting developments in the world of the Electronic Frontier Foundation and their taking on of the Border Patrol. Now, you wouldn't think the Electronic Frontier Foundation would have anything to do with Border Patrol, but they do. They're actually very interested, and they've got a multi-party lawsuit that they're representing, I think, close to a dozen plaintiffs and I don't think that's the same case you're talking about, but it sounds related, Johnson. This lawsuit that I'm aware of has to do with people who've had their devices searched at the border, and the EFF is suing, saying that this is out of the bounds of what the Border Patrol should be allowed to do.
I think this is directly related.
Okay. All right. And you've got a story from Boston about this. If you want to comment, by the way, our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So brief recap for those just tuning in.
So the brief recap is that they presented testimony, and they're requesting a judgment without trial that says, hey, the border security is, the home, ICE and
Customs and Border Patrol.
Basically, they're violating the First and Fourth Amendment, and this needs to be stopped immediately. So they're requesting for a summary judgment. The evidence that we have presented, this is a quote, the evidence that we have presented the court shows that the scope of ICE and CBP border searches is unconstitutionally broad, said EFF senior staff attorney Adam Schwartz. ICE and CBP policies and practices allow unfettered, warrantless searches of travelers' digital devices and empower officers to dodge the Fourth Amendment when rifling through highly personal information contained on laptops and phones.
Right, and I imagine it's going to mention this, but my understanding of the lawsuit, basically their argument is, yes, the Border Patrol, we acknowledge, they have a greater searchability at the border than, say, a police officer pulling you over on the side of the road, because when you go through the border, even though you're an American and you have rights and all that, you don't really have the rights when you're at the border, so they can search you. Yeah. However, they're saying that This search is above and beyond the pale because it's so invasive. It is invasive into every corner of that person's life because these phones basically have a significant these days, right? Like,
right.
If you don't have a smartphone, then it doesn't matter. But for those of us that do have smartphones, and I think it's like 80% of American adults at this point have them, that, every email probably that you've ever sent in the last decade is accessible there. Thousands of photos for the average person. Lots of them just save their photos. They never go through and delete them. Facebook posts. I mean, all these things that people have is accessible through that device. Now, one of the things that they're not supposed to do during the search is they're not supposed to go online. So when I got my phone back from the detectives who were searching it in secret, by the way.
Right.
So when I was being searched at the border when I came back from Acapulco in February, it was a 3-hour-long detention. They first searched my phone with just like a uniformed agent, paunchy, overweight New York bureaucrat. Mm-hmm. He didn't seem to know a whole lot about technology. He just kind of went through my pictures. And
there's an app. I would love to do that. If they're not supposed to, I don't know what the policy is. But I have an app that I've installed on my phone called Prey, Prey, that is specifically you can report your phone in a like lost or stolen mode. And essentially, when if that device gains network access, it immediately will report to you that it has gained network access. It will send you its location, and it will immediately start photographing whoever's holding the device, and turn them into prey. So you now know their location, what they look like, and when they're accessed, where they are, like everything. So it's essentially made to, and
I'm loading that up on my phone.
You can actually also make the app look like a game, so it's like even on your phone, like you can hide it so it doesn't necessarily be obvious what it is.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
because you don't know what they're doing. So the rest of the story was this sort of.
I also have it on my laptop too. It's like the
laptop didn't turn out to be an issue, and I'll explain that here in a moment. But what I've done was for the past couple of years since I've been traveling to Mexico, and this has become an issue. We knew this was going to potentially be an issue because it's been in the news of people in greater and greater numbers every year of the last several years having their devices searched. So they're doing more and more and more of these searches, which is why the EFF has gotten involved. And so to prepare myself for this, because I don't want to lose my laptop and phone, because if you can say no to the search, then they just take your stuff, supposedly. Right. That's the claim. They'll just take it, and then if they ever give it back to you, that's up to them. So I didn't want to lose my laptop and phone because there's all kinds of good, useful information on there, and it's, a few $100, so I wouldn't want to have to go and buy another one. So what I do is I sort of prepare myself in advance by putting like a bare bones Linux install on the laptop. So all there is a few web browsers. There's nothing to search through. And then before I get off the plane, so on my flight back into the United States, the last thing I do is I just scrub the phone. I delete all the photographs on the phone. Not that there was anything there for them to find in the first place, but I don't want them going through my stuff.
Right.
So I delete my, things I can delete. I logged out of my Google account, right? So that way if they were to go to the email, which they're not supposed to do, they wouldn't see anything because I'm logged out of my Gmail. I'm logged out of Telegram, or actually, I think instead of logging out, I'll password protect from now on those things. But they're not supposed to go into your instant messengers. They're not supposed to go into your email. And when I got the phone, sorry, I told you part of the story. So the first search was in front of me because I requested. I said, hey, can you do this in front of me? I want to observe this. And he was fine with it. But then later, after waiting for a while, after the sort of the standard CBP bureaucrat did the standard search, they then brought out the detectives.
Right.
The badges around the chain, kind of plain clothes.
Right.
2 detectives came out, and they took my stuff in the back room, and they refused to allow me to observe it. However, they didn't ask me to log into my laptop, so they couldn't have searched that because it's encrypted.
Right.
So they were only able to search my camera, which I had with me, and my phone. And again, the phone had been sanitized, so I'm sure they probably imaged the phone, would be my guess. They plugged it into a computer and just downloaded the entire thing so they could search it later. That would be my guess. But they brought it back to me, and it was in airplane mode, which I had not given it to them in airplane mode. So that's supposedly what they're supposed to do is when they get the phone, they're supposed to put it into airplane mode. That way they can't access online content from your phone. But who knows if they really do because they're not in front of you the whole time.
Right.
So anyway, that's part of this. Is EFF is saying if you can get into somebody's email, if you can get into their chats, you are going way deeper into their life than a typical search would reveal.
It would be also interesting, a lot of phones now you can, if they're not searching in front of you, you can turn on like a screen casting.
A logger. I would want a logger.
A logger, but I was thinking actually like there are lots of tools there for doing like a demo, like a tech demo or whatever that will record your screen and record everything that's going on.
Right.
Start that before handing it over to them and say, here you go.
What's a good one, chat room?
And then you can like watch back everything that they did on your phone.
Amazing. What's a good one? That's what I don't know.
I know like there's one built in on iOS, but
I don't have that.
I have a story actually in regards to that. So like I have recommended to a number of people, including your ex was here earlier, your ex-girlfriend was in here, and I've mocked her because she lost her phone one time, and I said, well,
one time, it was like every day.
I think that at this point she has installed Prey. I told her numerous times, and I was mocking her after one time she lost her phone. I'm like, well, did you install the app? Because you'd just be able to look it up. I'm like, you'd be able to look it up right now, where your phone is. And I actually, my girlfriend currently, we were downtown picking something up or whatever, and she had taken her phone and when we were getting into the car and put her phone on top of the car and didn't realize it. And I had told her to install this app, and because it's on Android, it actually functions better. It works better on Android because Android, you can have an app that's persistently open in the background. Yeah. Whereas on iOS, if you close that app, it doesn't really work anymore. Not the same. But there's functions in iOS that do this on its own, to track and find, an iPhone. But on Android anyway, we were able to go and locate it, and it literally brought us to the exact dot on the GPS. Her phone had flown off the top of the car and into the median on Main Street in Keene.
Wow.
So, like, into the grassy area in between places. This was, like, in front of the corner of Emerald Street.
And the GPS was that accurate on it?
Yep, we were able to find it.
Amazing.
Yeah. In the grass.
Did it have a case on it? Did it have a case on it, or was it
It did,
like,
so it was fine.
Okay,
it was not smashed.
Wow.
If it had been in the street, it could have gotten run over.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very lucky that it flew into the median.
So that Prey app totally saved her on that one. That's pretty sweet. Yeah. All right, more coming up
here. She
here.
had just bought the phone, too.
Is it a free
brand
app?
new, like,
free app?
S10 or S9 or whatever.
App's free?
Yes.
All right, more coming up.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? 1? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. Themorganreport.com. Themorganreport.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here at 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And if you know of any good like screen logging, screen capture software, that we would like to know about.
Yeah, for like doing tech demos on your phone or something like that.
Yeah, which would allow you to record whatever it is that a police officer does with your phone at the border specifically is what we're talking about.
Oh my God. Actually, you know who would probably implement this in like 10 seconds? We should just reach out to our friend Virgil.
Oh, Virgil at Cell 411.
Yeah. I'm sure that could be added as a feature.
Oh, I bet you're right. Yeah. He would be, because he already has the feature that when Cell 411, for listeners that don't know, is a decentralized emergency alerts app. That's basically what it does, but it has some cool side features as well. Like if the cop steals your phone, you can have it to where when the cop tries to delete your video, because Cell 411 has a video recording mode, so like you get pulled over by the cops, you send an alert to your friends, letting them know where you are and what's happening to you. I'm pulled over, and then they see the alert and they can maybe respond and come out and help you. And they can also watch if you're streaming live video, because the app gives you the option when you send the alert, would you like to also record video? You say yes, and you start streaming the video out. Well, if the cop takes your phone from you, which has been known to happen, like, give me that. And they grab the phone, and then they're like, you're recording video, I'm going to delete it. And then they hit the delete button, or they go back to their car and hit the delete button. The software, Cell 411 at getcell411.com, has a fake delete button option. So you fake the cop out, make them think they're deleting your video, when in fact what's actually happening is it just looks like they deleted the video, and it takes a camera shot of whoever it was that pressed the button. So you know which cop it was. If there was like 3 cops that were dealing with you, you know which one hit the button. So yeah, it would totally be a good feature for Cell 411. I wonder if he's still actively developing it. I haven't talked to him in a while.
I think so. I think he's still got it out there, but yeah.
So yeah, if you know of screen capture software that could run like, in the background on a smartphone that's relatively affordable or free, I would love to run that while I go through the border checkpoint.
Yeah.
Because they screwed with me this year. They didn't mess with me the first or second years I was coming back from Acapulco, but this year I got delayed, missed my flight, got delayed by 3.5 extra hours by these bureaucrats, as they pawed through my devices, and once did it in secret. So I have no idea what they did. I just presumed the worst and figured they imaged my entire device. So go on. Tell us more about what's going on.
It'd be cool, too, if you could have an app that would also not only be screen recording, but also like discreetly. Well, I don't know. Would that be illegal if it was discreetly recording what they were saying and doing as they did it?
Ooh, to wiretap them?
Yeah.
Basically. Probably. That would probably be
they really
illegal.
shouldn't have an expectation of privacy at that point.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. That'd be a question for the EFF to answer, to ask some of their attorneys that. And we'll get back into the story, but let's actually go to Mick. He's hanging on the line, listening in Pennsylvania via LRN.FM. Go ahead, Mick.
Hi, if somebody deletes Johnson, who are you going to call, Ian?
Huh?
If somebody kills Johnson...
get out of here. You're not allowed to be on the air. Loser. Toll-free number and dump in your call, too. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You can... there we go. The two people that are banned from the show called in tonight. How about that?
Didn't he call twice, or is that a...
No, the other guy was the lunatic from New Jersey who keeps promoting his website.
Crazy. Well,
that's the guy who wants to kill everybody.
Right.
That guy.
Right.
All right, let's continue.
I think they should probably be together.
Sure.
In that facility.
Why not? All right, let's get back into the story. EFF, lawsuit, Border Patrol.
Yes.
Where are we at?
Okay, so they're talking about rifling through phones, allowing the powers that are being granted here. So it says here the previously undisclosed government information was obtained as part of a lawsuit. Al-Assad versus McLeanan. EFF, ACLU, and ACLU of Massachusetts filed in September 2017 on behalf of 11 travelers, 10 U.S. citizens, and 1 lawful permanent resident whose smartphones and laptops were searched without warrants at U.S. ports of entry. This new evidence reveals that government agencies are using the pretext of the border to make an end run around the First and Fourth Amendments, said Esha Bandari, staff attorney with the ACLU's Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project. The border is not a lawless place. ICE and CBP are not exempt from the Constitution, and the information on our electronic devices is not devoid of Fourth Amendment protections. We're asking the court to stop these unlawful searches and require the government to get a warrant.
Wow. God, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
There's no way the court's going to rule outside of a trial for this, though. They're not going to give them a summary judgment.
Probably not. But they did. The court has ruled. I mean, it was for a while. I mean, it's been fairly recent that they actually finally ruled that within the United States, the cops needed a warrant to search phones. Right? That happened in 2018. Right? They finally ruled that, made that ruling.
I don't recall.
Yeah. So that it's true now that generally, if you're not within 100 miles of the border, they can't search your device.
They certainly can't force you to unlock it.
Yeah, without a warrant.
Yeah.
So,
I don't even think without a warrant they can force you to unlock it.
Yeah. So it says,
within the U.S.
No, I think there have been cases where they have forced it if there is a warrant. If it's court testimony or whatever, then they can force you. There have been cases in regards to
meaning that you'll be put in contempt if you don't unlock it. Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Or even held in prison.
That's what I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
when you go to contempt, it's contempt, you go to jail. Indefinitely.
It seemed like the case that I remember, it seemed like it was beyond simple contempt. They really they really held somebody and they were like, we're going to hold him until he unlocks the phone. Yeah. Period. It's like, what? You can't do that. Well, yes, we can. So anyway.
Well, they do a lot of things they can't legally do and usually get away with it until somebody like the EFF calls them on it.
Right. So the government's documents and testimony, portions of which were filed publicly in court today, reveal CBP and ICE are asserting broad and unconstitutional authority to search and seize travelers' devices. The evidence includes ICE and CBP policies and practices that authorize border officers to conduct warrantless and suspicionless device searches for purposes beyond...
Oh, they were quite suspicious of me. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
For purposes beyond the enforcement of immigration and customs laws. Officials can search devices for general law enforcement purposes such as enforcing bankruptcy, environmental, and consumer protection laws, and for intelligence gathering or to advance pre-existing investigations. Officers also consider requests from other government agencies to search devices.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, the agencies assert that the authority to search electronic devices when the subject of interest is someone other than the traveler, such as when the traveler is a journalist or a scholar with foreign sources who are of interest to the U.S. government, or even when the traveler is the business partner of someone under investigation. Both agencies further allow officers to retain information from travelers' electronic devices and share it with other government entities, including state, local, and foreign law enforcement agencies.
Jesus. Yeah. So, image your phone. Share it with the local sheriff.
Yep.
More coming up here on this story. Who's reporting on this, by the way?
This is a press release from the EFF.
Oh, straight from the EFF. That's right. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. If you've got a Border Patrol search story that you want to share with us or just want to take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever's on your mind. You may do that as well. This is Free Talk Live.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid rich, full spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you to go this way? You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free here. Take control of the airwaves. Bring whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. They're available to you over on our Discord server, which allows you to chat with other Free Talk Live listeners. Go to discord.lrn.fm. You can find the server there where there are people hanging out usually 24 hours a day. There's people in there all night long, all day long, talking about a variety of different things in different rooms, and it's free. So head over to discord.lrn.fm. Also free, well, at least there's no ticket price, ForkFest 2019. It is coming up. And it's coming up fast. It's going to be in January. It's going to be June 13th through the 18th. So basically the last week of springtime, last week of spring, over at Rogers Campground, the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. It is a libertarian, decentralized camping festival. Decentralized meaning there's no central authority besides the campground. There's no organizer of ForkFest. It's just liberty-minded folks, voluntarists, liberty-loving anarchists, libertarians coming to the same campground and just creating whatever it is they want to create. Maybe you just want to hang out and camp. That's cool. But maybe you want to do something for the other campers to enjoy. I know Terrence Lupo's talking about doing like a classic game night, like with board games, I think.
Right.
And then also Derek and Steven from AnyPay are going to be throwing apparently raves every single night, including the Big Gay Dance Party, the return of the Big Gay Dance Party, the first time in 3-4 years since there's been one of those. So it used to be at the Porcupine Freedom Festival. It is now happening at ForkFest, which you didn't know about until tonight, Johnson. I informed you of that. And Man Camp is happening.
I actually did know that was happening. I just didn't know what night it was happening on.
Ah, okay. Well,
because I'm unfortunately not going to be there for all of ForkFest. I'm going to be there for the end of it.
Okay. Well, at least you're making it out for some of it.
Definitely a few days because I work and whatnot, and so I'll be there for the final weekend.
Cool.
Which is good because that's
the end of it. Yeah, it's the weekend. It goes again the 13th. I think that's a Thursday through the 18th of June. So get on to forkfest.party. There's a link there to the ForkFest forum, the ForkFest chat room. Which these are all unofficial. If somebody launches another ForkFest forum, then there'll be two of them. Because again, there's no central authority here at ForkFest. Forkfest.party. We will see you there because Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event. We're talking about the news about the EFF, their press release today that they have asked for summary judgment in their lawsuit, basically declaring the border searches that the Customs and Border Patrol or Customs and Border Enforcement are conducting. Tens of thousands of these searches. They've searched, I think it was in 2017, I think it was like 29,000 devices or somewhere in that range. Mm-hmm. Lots of devices, lots of people being targeted for these searches. Turns out they found some evidence that shows the Border Patrol is searching at the request of other law enforcement agencies. Agencies that don't have the right to search your devices when you're just driving from point A to point B within the United States, where they would need your consent to search. These agencies are now reaching out to the Border Patrol and saying, hey, if you see Johnson Rice passing through, make sure you search his devices for us.
And they're doing things that are extremely chilling to the First Amendment, like searching journalists.
Oh, yeah.
And
intimidation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, So they are saying here the plaintiffs are asking the court to rule that the government must have a warrant based on probable cause before conducting searches of electronic devices which contain highly detailed personal information about people's lives. The plaintiffs, which include a limousine driver, a military veteran, journalists, students, an artist, a NASA engineer, and a business owner, are also requesting that the court to hold that the government must have probable cause to confiscate a traveler's device. Oh, that's good, too. So not only are they saying not search it, but they're also saying probable cause to confiscate as well.
Nice.
Yeah, which would be pretty fantastic.
Which is what I expect to happen when I say no.
Yeah, so the district court previously rejected the government's motion to dismiss the lawsuit. So they said, no, we're not going to dismiss this. The number of electronic device searches at the border has increased dramatically in the last few years. Last year, CBP conducted more than 33,000 border device searches.
More than I thought.
Yeah, almost 4 times the number from just 3 years earlier. CBP and ICE policies allow border officers to manually search anyone's smartphone with no suspicion at all, and to conduct a forensic search.
And laptop and camera, anything electronic with an electronic storage.
Yeah. And to conduct forensic search with a reasonable suspicion of wrongdoing. CBP also allows suspicionless device searches for national security concern. Below is a full list of plaintiffs, and their individual stories can be found here. And it talks about,
this is the suit I was talking about.
Yeah, I don't know that we necessarily need to list all these people, but
that's a lot. I think there's like a dozen of them.
Yeah, and it talks about who they are, like the NASA engineer, and there's a programmer and journalist. And
well, I think that's important for EFF to do. We don't have to do it here, but it's important for them to do that because you want to put a human face on this. It's not just like, here, we represent 20 faceless individuals. No, these are people with families. They have lives. They have their lives disrupted. They missed a flight. They missed work. They lost data. They lost their laptop. They never got it back. There's all these different stories of how these people have just had their lives just destroyed. Here's another question. When you go into the room, this is kind of an interesting aside to this story, Johnson. When you go into this drab, institutional, boring, awful waiting room where there's like 15 bureaucrats milling about, there's probably 50 different chairs in there where the victims, people like me, were seated. At the time of day I was there, it was mostly empty. I was there at 5:30 in the morning. So there were only like 5 people in there. There was like 15 bureaucrats and 5 victims. But I bet you that room gets pretty full at some points. So I was there for 3 hours and there was no one there.
Right.
So that's how long it took them to get through me with almost nobody else in the room. I mean, there was a handful and maybe a couple came in and out while I was waiting, but there wasn't much action going on generally. But man, I couldn't imagine being in that room with 25, 30, 50 people sitting in there waiting for whatever stupid bureaucracy they have to be subject to. But there's signs all over the room.
And how long does it take to look at a phone and go, oh, this phone's been wiped? Like it's in default state.
Well, mine wasn't in default state.
Okay.
I didn't uninstall all the programs, but I logged out of like my Google so they couldn't get into the email.
Okay.
I logged out of like Telegram and things like that.
Right.
Deleted all the photos. So there were still some things for them to look through.
Yeah.
And certainly I don't think they looked through them. I think they just downloaded the whole thing. Then they could look later.
I mean, if you deleted your photos and stuff like that, I don't see why you wouldn't want to just have a cloud backup somewhere and wipe the damn thing and then download from the cloud later. I mean, it might take a day or whatever.
That's what I did the first time that I went through when I didn't get checked. I had actually wiped just about everything off the phone and then just reinstalled all the programs when I came back. But one of the problems with that is if you do that with like Signal doesn't have any startup security. So if you uninstall Signal, and then when you reinstall it, it just sends you a text to the same phone. So the agents, if they saw Signal was uninstalled, could just install Signal, and then it would just show you unencrypted, whatever chats were there. So that's kind of a weakness in Signal. But you can lock Signal down with a password and make it so that, I don't know.
I would love to try. Here's a test for somebody to you get your phone right.
This is why, just an interruption. This is why you shouldn't talk about things over Signal, even though it's encrypted. If somebody gets their hands on your phone, well, the encryption doesn't matter at that point. Sorry, you were saying.
I would love to get the packaging. You have your phone, right? You buy your phone and you have the packaging, and then if there was an app or maybe even you just do it, you reset your phone back to the thing, put it back in the packaging, and make the packaging look as though it's sealed. And see, would they just skip it because they think it's brand new?
I don't know.
Or would they take a look at it?
I think they'd probably want to look at it. They'd probably be suspicious.
Okay, fine. Open it up. It's a
brand new phone.
And then they open it up and it looks like it's it's totally reset or whatever, and be like, I just got the phone.
What there needs to also be is like a cop mode kind of thing where you should be able to like dual boot the phone basically and make it so that if you put in a certain code when you are booting the phone, it goes into your normal mode.
Right.
But if you don't put in that code, it goes into like dummy cop mode.
Right.
Where there's nothing to see, there's nothing going on. They can page through it and they'll find nothing.
That's
if they
going to be
image
a lot harder to
nothing happens.
Make that happen.
It could happen if somebody wanted to program that, but
that's like an OS level thing. So yeah.
All right, more coming up here. 855, 450 free. We got. Is there more on this?
Yeah, there's a little. No, actually, no, there's not that.
If not, coming up, Venezuela. It's Free Talk Live.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event. Even with coupon code FTL50. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain. There's enough time for you. If you want to join us now, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord on air. Call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And also, if you support what we do here on Free Talk Live, then please become a Free Talk Live amplifier like Joe Pesci. well, at least somebody claiming their name is Joe Pesci. I don't know if it's the real Joe Pesci, but somebody calling themselves Joe Pesci has become a Free Talk Live Gold amplifier. And so thank you for that, Joe. Appreciate it. Gold means $10 a month, but you can do $5 a month. That's all we ask for is $5 a month, and you get some cool perks, some benefits for being a Free Talk Live amplifier that other people don't get. And you can help us get on more radio stations around the country to bring new internet listeners on board with the show, bring new radio stations on, and help us get the ideas of freedom into more people's ears. So if you like what we're doing here, then please join the AMP program, get the benefits, and help us out over at amp.freetalklive.com. Yes, you can use PayPal. Yes, you can use credit card and Bitcoin BTC. It's amp.freetalklive.com. Stories all over the place about what's going on in Venezuela today with an ostensible alleged coup happening, and there's some pretty shocking video that has come out. This is video from Trish_Regan of a large crowd of people allegedly running from the Maduro regime's troops, firing at them, allegedly pellets and live ammunition, as Nicolas Maduro attempts to suppress an uprising today. But that's not the worst of it. In video actually posted by, or probably reposted by, the White House. So on the White House Twitter account, the Donald Trump White House, not Donald Trump's account, but the White House account, titled, "This is the corrupt, illegitimate Maduro regime." In this video, and Johnson, I don't think you've seen this yet, but in this video you've got, and it's up on my screen, I don't know if you can take a look at it here. This is, let me replay this for you. So you've got this armored vehicle. It looks like pretty much like a Bearcat, just rolling right into a crowd of people.
Wow.
Just, I mean, running people down.
Yeah. Bouncing up and down as it does so. And those are very heavy vehicles too.
So what has sparked this violence? The story from Reuters out of Caracas from today. Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido today called for a military uprising.
I wonder what happened. I mean, you don't, typically when you rush a vehicle into a crowd, that's not going to end well for the driver of that vehicle, usually.
He drove away.
Yeah, that's surprising that they didn't somehow, break it.
That the crowd didn't stop him somehow?
Yeah, somehow stop him. Yeah.
I mean, these are armored vehicles. I'm sure they're pretty good for running over crowds.
Yeah.
In this case. I didn't see anybody fling a Molotov at it or anything like that. And the people in Venezuela are, for the most part, unarmed. The government there years ago confiscated weapons. So unless you are a criminal, who's got an illegal gun, you don't have one. So they called for a military uprising to oust Nicolas Maduro, the president of the country, and armed factions exchanged gunfire outside of a Caracas air base as the country hit a new crisis point after years of political and economic chaos. Several dozen men armed in military uniform accompanying Guaido clashed with soldiers supporting Maduro at a protest outside of the La Carlota air base, Reuters witnesses said, but the incident fizzled out and did not appear to be part of an immediate attempt by the opposition to take power by force. Guaido, in a video posted on Twitter earlier today, said he had begun the, quote, final phase of his campaign to topple Maduro, calling on Venezuelans and the military to back him. So if he could get the military to turn against Maduro, he'd have it. Of course, the military's probably being fed, by Maduro.
Right.
So
for now, anyway.
Yeah, for now. I mean, he's gonna feed his guys as long as he possibly can, whereas other people are losing weight every single year in Venezuela because of the lack of basic food items. Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino called the latest instability a coup movement. But several hours after Guaido's announcement, there was no sign of any other military activity, and there were no immediate reports of casualties. Guaido later left a rally that he was holding with military supporters at his airbase. Maduro said he had spoken with military leaders and that they had shown him their total loyalty. Nerves of steel, Maduro wrote on Twitter. He said, I call for maximum popular mobilization to assure the victory of peace. We will win. So he's promoting himself as though he's the peaceful one, while his trucks are running over protesters. And, of course, the military brass are going to show their total loyalty. I mean, come on. What else are they supposed to do? Even if they're disloyal to Maduro, they're not going to tell him that to his face.
Right.
When he comes up and says, Senor Alvarez, I need to know if you're behind me on this. And, the general's like, well, yes, of course I am. Even if secretly he's, sabotaging him. Because if he were to say, no, I'm not behind you, the gun comes out and he gets, his brains blasted out. Right?
Or just something worse.
Yeah, just to make a point to the other ones. That's what would happen.
That's like a great, that's like the best case scenario.
Maduro, or the move was Guaido's boldest effort yet to convince the military to rise up against Maduro. If it fails, it could be seen as evidence that he lacks the support that he says he has. It might also encourage the authorities who have already stripped him of his immunity and opened multiple investigations into him to arrest him. The U.S. is among about 50 countries that are recognizing Guaido as Venezuela's president and has imposed sanctions to try to dislodge Maduro, who they say won re-election last year through fraud. So let's see here. I'm not sure. There's just more of like kind of background and history on the ongoing conflict over there. But this is more than just Guaido calling for military. There are people in the streets. So the people, whether the military is going to turn is another question, but the people are definitely not happy. And there's real conflict happening there right now in Venezuela. If you've got an update, if you want to clue us into this as to we're just scratching the surface. We don't know anything beyond what we can read in the media. If you're in Venezuela, if you can call tonight or any other night this week, please, we'd love to hear from you the story about your perspective on what's happening down there. In related news to this, the Petro. You'd asked about it earlier, Johnson.
Yeah, so you found some information.
There's actually a story published today that headline from ccn.com. It's a cryptocurrency news website.
Okay.
Venezuela's Maduro is running out of time. So is his Petro. And so I'm sure they're going to recap here what has happened with the Petro. There's little appetite for it. Bitcoin seems to be trading feverishly in response to the uprising as investors once again prove they see it as the best crypto option. Venezuelan volume totals on local Bitcoins have reached roughly 36 billion bolivars for the week ending April 27th. That is the highest it has ever been. So this is interesting that when you look at local Bitcoins, which for listeners who aren't familiar is a website on which you can connect with another individual who's willing to sell or purchase Bitcoin from you. And frequently this involves actually meeting somebody in physical reality, but not always. So local Bitcoins is one of the most interesting sites, not just because you can buy and sell Bitcoins, but because it's a global site. Whereas exchanges, usually they're very restrictive in which countries they're authorized to do business with. If it's a cryptocurrency exchange, like a lot of them won't even accept U.S. customers. If they detect an IP address in the U.S., they're like, nope.
Yeah,
we don't want to do business with you. We're not authorized. We don't have the permission slips, so we're not going to do it. So there's no exchange out there that I know of that's like a truly global exchange. Maybe there are, maybe Binance or something like that. But these guys know at local Bitcoins where their customers are doing business. So they know, they can compare countries to see, which countries are the top locations for Bitcoin purchasing per capita. Looking at charts, so they're showing Venezuela on local Bitcoins here. This is from the website coin.dance, showing the Bitcoin volume in Venezuela in millions. It's Bolivar Soberano, which is a newer currency for Venezuela. They knocked 5 zeros off of their Bolivar Fuerte, the so-called strong Bolivar, which is what they knocked 3 zeros off the original Bolivar.
Right.
So they knocked 3 zeros off, made the Bolivar Fuerte, 10 or 12 or however many years ago. And then they knocked 5 zeros off. So just for some perspective on what that means, 500,000 Bolivar became 5 with this new Bolivar Soberano. Anyway, huge numbers on local Bitcoin starting in January of this year. Shot up, and it's been going up since then, big time. So that's a good sign. People are getting out of the Bolivar and into cryptocurrency. We'll see you tomorrow night. You can join us online in the meantime. freetalklive.com and libertyminded.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Coming up next after the news, Hour 1 of the latest episode of Free Talk Live here at listen.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,284. Silver at $14.96, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,251. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients.
You're listening to the Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, heartlandnewsfeed.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,284. Silver at $14.96, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,251. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Vice President Mike Pence confirmed Tuesday that the Trump administration is firmly on the side of the coup plotters in Venezuela, as violent clashes between the elected government and opposition forces led by Juan Guaido quickly escalated. Mint Press News reports Pence's affirmation of U.S. support for the ongoing coup attempt in Venezuela came just hours after Guaido, surrounded by heavily armed soldiers and armored vehicles, called for a military uprising against the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. Vice President's statement of support for the coup plot was echoed by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and National Security Advisor John Bolton. Bolton, who has repeatedly threatened the elected Venezuelan government in the weeks leading up to Tuesday's attempted coup, urged members of the military to defect and join the side of the coup plotters. Washington significantly escalated its unilateral coercive measures in August 2017, when the Venezuelan government and state oil company were cut off from financial markets. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing for the Muslim Brotherhood to be labeled a terror group, at the urging of Egypt's president, who visited the White House earlier this month. National Security Advisor John Bolton and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reportedly already support the designation, but officials at the Pentagon and elsewhere have been opposed and have been seeking more limited action. A senior U.S. official confirmed the request asked of Trump to make the designation, which Egypt has already done, in a private meeting during a visit to Washington on April 9. The anti-media reports that after the meeting, a bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers raised concerns about Egypt's record on human rights, new legislation to keep the president in office until 2030, and planned Russian arms purchases. If successful, the designation is likely to impact several U.S. mosques and Muslim organizations that have links to Brotherhood-affiliated groups or individuals. A new report on antimicrobial resistance calls for greater action by stakeholders at all levels, lest so-called superbugs claim 10 million lives a year. According to the Mind Unleashed, the report was released Monday by the UN Interagency Coordination Group on Antimicrobial Resistance. The report states, quote, unless the world acts urgently, antimicrobial resistance will have disastrous impact within a generation. The threat of antimicrobial resistance is already deadly, with 700,000 people dying each year as a result of drug-resistant diseases. There's also a problem of inequity and a lack of affordable access, which the report links to the deaths of nearly 6 million people annually, including 1 million children who die of preventable sepsis and pneumonia. Fast forward to 2050, and the report says AMR could cause as many as 10 million deaths each year under a worst-case scenario. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Live, worldwide, Sports Byline USA. And here's host, Ron Barr.
And wherever you might be across the country and around the world, I'm Ron Barr. Good to have you with us on another edition of Sports Byline. Certainly hope you had a good day. I'm looking at the fan poll question right now, and I see the numbers really haven't changed that much. This is going to be the last day for this particular question of who is the greatest father-son duo in Major League Baseball history, and it's still, according to you fans, Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. getting 45% of the vote, followed by Bobby and Barry Bonds at 27%. And then Sandy Alomar and Sandy Alomar Jr. and Roberto Alomar, they're getting 19% of the vote. And finally bringing up the rear, Ray, Bob, Brett, and Aaron Boone with 9% of the vote. So you'll find it on the homepage at sportsbyline.com. Well, the Run for the Roses coming up this weekend, the Kentucky Derby. And already some numbers are out. Assigned post positions have been announced for all 20 horses. And when you take a look at this race, it's fine until you find out what the weather's going to be, because it really doesn't matter who is breaking from where, really. If you get rain, and, of course, this time of the year and what's been happening in that part of the country, good chance that they probably will have rain. Plenty to look forward to. The dreaded number 1 post is occupied by War of Will, while shortlist favorite Omaha Beach got a favorable draw. That was at number 12. And as I take a look at some of the odds here, Omaha Beach 4-1, Game Winner at 5-1, Roadster at 6-1. And those are the 3 top favorites for the Run for the Roses. So I always enjoy the Kentucky Derby. I'm not a big horse racing fan, but there's always something about something special like that. It's like one of the major golf tournaments, I think. We're going to talk baseball in just a second. You know the name, Kirk Gibson, 17 years, 13 in the American League, 4 in the National League with the Dodgers and the Tigers. He was a member of the World Series championship teams in 84 with Detroit, 88 with the Dodgers. And I was down in Detroit, I should say down in Los Angeles when he made and hit that dramatic home run against the Oakland A's and relief ace Dennis Eckersley. And then after that, we'll talk some baseball with a guy that passed away in 2018. I'm going to share my interview with the late Augie Garrido, former baseball head coach at the University of Texas and 5-time National Coach of the Year. Good to have you with us on Sports Byline.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low-cost airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Taming the briar patch, mowing the lawn, trimming the Yeti. Whatever you call it, it's about time we talked about manscaping. Guys, you manscape, right? You know, keep things trimmed and fresh below the waist. 9 out of 10 women of all ages prefer their guy manscaped. But you got to have the right tools for the jewels, or you'll look like you used a machete. Pop over to manscaped.com and check out their perfect package. No, not that perfect package. I'm talking about the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0 that was a smash hit on Shark Tank. It features the lawnmower, a precision trimmer engineered for below-the-waist grooming. Its skin-safe technology means no more accidental nicks and burns. Check out the lawnmower and the amazing grooming and hygiene products that come with your perfect package. What's that saying? Oh, yeah. Trim the shrubs and the tree stands taller. Get 20% off plus free shipping today. Visit manscaped.com and use promo code USA. Again, use promo code USA at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com.
If you need anything from a simple home repair to a major remodel, you need to know about Home Advisor. It's a totally free service that instantly connects you with top local service pros.
Home Advisor is a very easy way to find a home contractor, and for me, it's the only way.
You can use Home Advisor for everything. Your house cleaning, your painting.
Electricians, plumbers, handymen. We've had nothing but fabulous every single time.
Just select the type of work you need done, and Home Advisor's Pro Finder technology instantly finds top pros in your area. You can read customer reviews of the pros, even use their cost guide to find out what hundreds of other repair and improvement projects cost in your area.
I think everybody should use Home Advisor. In fact, I tell everybody to use Home Advisor.
Home Advisor is a total solution to any type of work you would ever want to do around your house.
And best of all, it's completely free. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
I think anybody that watched Kirk Gibson over his long sports career in baseball particularly saw the intense manner in which he played the game. He played it with an awful lot of pride, and that led him certainly to the National League MVP award. Now that he is out of baseball, he's just finished authoring a book called The Bottom of the Ninth. Kirk, good evening to you. Nice to have you with us here on Sports Byline.
Well, thanks
Thanks for having me.
Kirk, as you know, there have been teams that have had a lot of talent, but they have not been able to win a championship. That takes a special attitude, does it not? What is the difference between just being a good competitive team with talent and a team that knows how to win in a championship situation?
First thing I think is the way you perceive who you are as a team and where you see yourself competing against others. And, above that, obviously you have to perform. And I think what you really have to pay attention to if you want to be a championship team is you need to pay attention to the things that you can control, eliminate your mental mistakes, and then the things that happen that you can't control, you can overcome those things. And it takes a lot of concentration, a lot of pride, determination to not make mental errors. And you try and play a flawless game, and that mentally pressures your opponent, and hopefully you can pressure them into doing some things that they don't want to do, and that's what makes the difference.
If you take a look at the Detroit Red Wings, the Chicago Bulls, and also the Green Bay Packers, what's the common denominator among those successful teams and probably teams that will win championships this year?
The common denominator probably is the atmosphere and the character that each team has and what they develop over a season and how they prepare themselves. I think if Michael Jordan wasn't on the Chicago Bulls, that things would be different for them. But they're not. He's the greatest player ever to play the game of basketball, and but nobody can take a game and put it out of control like Michael Jordan. When it gets down to the fourth quarter, the opponent knows that it's just a matter of time. They're just waiting for Jordan to do his thing, and he's unstoppable.
What was your motivation for writing the book, Bottom of the Ninth?
Well, my motivation was just I went through a 17-year Major League career and a 4-year college football career at Michigan State University, and when you're experiencing that, it's easy to set goals, and we wanted to be Big Ten champs, and then we wanted to be World Series champions when I played professional baseball, and you tend to focus on that. Then after you retire, like I have been for almost a couple of years, you kind of reflect back, and as I reflected back, I saw a lot of growth from a guy who used to be an egotistical jerk, and as a person and as a player, and I saw a guy who matured and had great growth through big time support from his parents and from his coaches, from his teammates and his fans. And I just think there's when you reflect on a career like mine, there's just really important messages that are very applicable to everybody in whatever endeavors that they encounter. And my motivation was, as I write in the end, is I just ask everybody what's your World Series in your life, and I challenge them to identify that. I challenge them to defeat the beast. I challenge them to visualize success and realize their goals.
I remember, Kirk, in the times that I've dealt with you when I've been at a baseball stadium, you were always very focused and you were also always very intense. And as I reflect back on those times, I also always sensed it was because you maybe had a fear of failure, that if you failed, you wanted it to be because you put forth your very best effort. And as long as you could say that to Kirk Gibson, saying it to himself, then that would be something you could accept. Anything less than that, you could not. Am I correct?
Well, actually, I didn't fear defeat or I didn't fear failure. In a sense, I did. What I was dedicated to do was to set a goal and go get it and let nothing get in my way. And regardless of how good things were or how bad things were, to just stay focused and fight through it. And, sometimes when you're being successful, it gets you off your game plan, too. And obviously, they're really fighting that. And, they have to fight through that. And in 1988, when we were world champions, we were picked to finish 4th or 5th. And, we believed we were world champions, and we overcame what everybody else thought that we were going to do. And you just have to persevere through it. And when you're a world champion, not until you're not a world champion do you really realize what you've accomplished. And so I was just so driven to get to my goal, because that's really hitting .300 or getting an MVP or, hitting 40 home runs. Being a world champion was what it was all about. And to put all the individual selfish goals behind and to a side and be a team player and to win it under those conditions, that's what's rewarding, and that's what drove me.
In the early part of your baseball career, you and Sparky Anderson didn't particularly see eye to eye. You've written in the book, you said, I've been around a long time, or at least Sparky said this. He said, I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of people with talent fall on their face, and you're heading in that direction. Was that a wake-up call in a sense for you, Kirk?
It certainly was, and I talk about that. It was in 1983. I entered the Major League scene in 1979, and they tried to kind of baby me and put me on a plateau, and like I said earlier, it did bad things to me. I wasn't a good person. I didn't handle situations very well in my life and in the game. And Sparky Anderson, he was like a father figure to me. He confronted me in 1983. He told me I was going to sit my butt next to the bench, and if I didn't get it, I was going to go home to Mama. And by the end of the season, at the beginning of the season, I thought he was the guy who was crazy. And sometimes we get it in our head and we're not really thinking objectively, but by the end of the season I realized that he did that to me because he cared about me. He cared about me, as a player, as a person, and I got it. And I went away and refocused myself. In 1984, we were world champions.
You say in the book, I compounded all the setbacks by being selfish and immature. At the time it was happening, how did you look upon it? While in retrospect, this is how you're looking at it right now.
Like I said, I just kind of thought that everybody was being unfair to me, and they were, maybe blaming me for things that I didn't think maybe I should be blamed for. And I was selfish. I said I was an egotistical jerk, and I was just immature. And looking back, I was just in a situation, in an environment that I was overmatched with. And Sparky recognized that, and he recognized that, I had to make some changes, and by doing so, then I could turn around and maybe be a good person and be a world champion.
You also say I was basically a good kid thanks to two great parents and a good home, but one time you did steal some Christmas lights, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And I got caught.
What were the circumstances?
Well, I was just being a kid. We went out and we steal Christmas lights off, outdoor Christmas trees and throw them up and, in the road and listen to them pop. But we got one of my dad's buddy's house, and he nabbed me and scared the daylights out of me. And he took me down to the police station, and I thought, oh, no, I'm dead meat now. But it was a good wake-up call. Those are the types of experiences you can look back on, and you can laugh about them now. And but when it really comes down to it, when you reflect, it's just an important part of lesson learned.
How good was the Coates Funeral Home team?
The Coates Funeral Home? Well,
yeah.
We were awesome. We were always good. And, at least as far as I can remember, I tend to remember things in a positive fashion. I don't like to dwell on the negative. I just think it's a better way to live. And when you look what goes on in our society today, you can kind of dwell on some of the negative things that happen. But I just think you need to focus on the positive, and you'll go a lot farther by being a positive person.
Kirk, hang on for just a second. We'll only keep you a little bit longer. Kirk Gibson has joined us, and the name of the book is Bottom of the Knife, but it's more than just a sports book. It's a book about life that can be applied to each and every one of us. 1-800-878-7529 is the toll-free number. Kirk Gibson has joined us and you on America's Sports Talk Show.
Do you use the blue pill to charge your sex life? Have you been thinking about trying the blue pill? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pill delivers the exact same results for less than $3. We'll do the math for you. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. Want more? We'll give you 40 blue pills or 40 yellow pills for $99 and add 4 more pills free. You save more than $500. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what to do next. You need to call and get your 44 pills for just $99. Stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. That's 800-223-0992.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about elite rehab placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. That's 800-403-5912.
Attention to anyone that's written a book or wants to write a book. The process is not that complicated. Take a first step. Even if you write a page a day, you'll build momentum and your book will become a reality. The hard part is getting it published. That's when you need to call Page Publishing. They've got hundreds and hundreds of thank yous from different new authors, just like you. They make the process of publishing your new book and getting it sold online a simple process. You can learn how simple it is right now by calling for your free Page Publishing New Author Submission Kit. One quick 3-minute phone call, that's all it takes to get free information and learn how you can get your book published. Pick up your phone right now and call us 24 hours a day at this number. 800-603-0885. 800-603-0885. 800-603-0885. That's 800-603-0885.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Taking a look at the scoreboard in the American League, Boston picking up another win as they dump the A's in Boston 5-1. And for the Oakland A's, they're struggling badly. They've lost 5 in a row. The win goes to Porcello, only gives up 2 hits over 8 shutout innings, and Betts and Moreland each with home runs. Again, Boston 5-1 over Oakland. In the National League, St. Louis edged Washington 3-2 the final there. The Cards have won 4 straight. Washington has lost 8 out of 11. Wainwright, a strong effort to get the victory. Batter, 2 RBIs. Detroit 3-1 over Philadelphia as the Tigers spotted Philadelphia a 1-0 lead, and then they win it with 3 runs in the third. Turnbull gets that victory. It was his second of the year. Cleveland easily passed Miami 7-4. Indians scored 4 in the third to take the lead. Gonzalez had a 3-run home run. Santana also went deep. San Diego edged Atlanta 4-3 the final. Padres win it with the 2 home runs in the 6th inning by Hosmer and Reyes. For Reyes, he went deep twice with home runs number 7 and 8. And Milwaukee 4, Colorado 3. Aguilar hit his 3rd home run in 2 games. It was a 3-run shot, and the Rockies were held to just 4 hits. NBA playoff action tied up at 1-1 after Boston falls to Milwaukee 123-102. And the Bucks led by 25 after 3 quarters. 5 Bucks scored in double figures, led by Antetokounmpo. He had 29 points, 10 rebounds. Milwaukee out-rebounded Boston and outshot them. And on the ice in the National Hockey League playoffs, it was Columbus 2-1 over Boston, so they lead that series 2-1. And that's your sports update.
We love watching sports, but these days it's nearly impossible to catch all the best moments of your favorite games. Now with the new Sport Flip app, you can receive real-time, customized notifications so you know when your games are back after a commercial break, period change, or rain delay. Download Sport Flip from the App Store today and watch more sports.
Kirk Gibson has joined us and you on Sports Byline. The name of his book is Bottom of the Ninth. Kirk, I think there's only a handful of players who can actually be those players that want to determine the outcome of a game at a critical moment. You seem to be one of those. Michael Jordan is another one like that. What is it about those type of players? Does it just happen to them, or do they look for those moments?
Well, I think I can tell you myself that, I enjoyed those moments. I think you hit it on the head. While I write in my book, my very first Major League at-bat, came against Goose Gossage, and this was when Gossage was so dominating, and he came in. We were down 4-2, and it was going to the bottom of the ninth, and all the players were going to the other end of the bench from Sparky because nobody wanted to face Gossage, and here I am, this little punk rookie, 21 years old, and I went the other way. I went down to Sparky and started clanging my bat around the bat rack, and he looks at me and says, "What are you doing? What do you want?" And I looked out at Goose Gossage. He says, "You want him?" I said, "I want him." Everybody's thinking, this guy's crazy. Why would you want to face Gossage your first at bat? But that's just, those are the type of situations you gotta want to be in. And he struck me out, but I got him in 1984 in that World Series, and I just felt that's the way I saw myself. I saw myself being there, and I saw myself manufacturing wins when maybe you weren't supposed to win the game, and that just was my identity, and I thought I could have the greatest impact by preparing myself mentally to be comfortable in those situations so I could perform well.
You're absolutely right. The 84 World Series against San Diego, you're facing Gossage again in game number 5, a key moment. Here's Jack Buck and how he described the moment.
Tigers leading 5-4 with a great opportunity to get more. Outfield deep to the right, the pitch. Swing and a high fly ball into right. It's going to be a home run into the upper deck. The second of the game for Gibson. A 3-run homer, and that makes it 8-4. And there's little doubt about the outcome here now.
What personal sense did you have of that moment and any of the great moments that you were involved with, Kirk?
Well, I tell you what, right, that moment is, I don't know if everybody knows, Dick Williams instructed Gossage to walk me because there was guys on second and third with one out. And Goose refused to walk me because he'd had great success against me in the past. And, Williams went out there to the mound, and, Gossage is telling him, I've had good success against this guy. I think I can strike him out. And of course, I'm standing in the on-deck circle. I'm aware of what Gossage is doing and why he's thinking that. And, I have to work on my mind and say, refuse to remember what's happened to me in the past. And I got to think about, doing my duty and hitting a home run. And in fact, I had some dialogue with Sparky, and I'm saying, I bet you $10 I'd take him upstairs. You have to force yourself not to think about the last 10 times he struck you out. You got to think about what happens when you hit the home run. And, again, those are the kind of things that if you want to be good, you want to come through when it counts, you've got to force yourself to be positive and visualize that situation and visualize success.
The other, as I said, you were involved with a lot of great moments, and yet you were always able to channel your energy at the right time in the right particular way. You were able to departmentalize your emotions. Was that something that just came from conditioning all through your life and Kirk Gibson being Kirk Gibson the person?
Yeah, I guess it is. You don't really understand why you do a lot of things when you're going along, but, those are just the types of moments that I live for, and like I said, if you see yourself succeeding in certain situations, you'll perform better. I can tell you, you may say, well, geez, I don't like to publicly speak because, I get nervous. Well, if you go up there to speak, you're going to get up there, you're going to make a fool of yourself. But if you visualize that you're a great public speaker, you get up there and you give a great speech. And these are the types of things, like I said, you just have to force yourself to believe in the proper outcome.
You also, Kirk, were never afraid to take a position that may not be popular. You're involved with the environment right now. Is that because if you believe in something, you have no problem with what anybody else might say as long as you feel comfortable with it?
Well, I would challenge anybody to counterpoint my position on the environment. Plain and simply, our air and our water are the two most important resources that we have to take care of. And if we don't, we're just being selfish for our future generations. And I can tell you, I planted 8,162 trees this year on my ranch in Upper Michigan. And, probably many people may not realize what that means, but if you can visualize what a filter on a cigarette is. A tree filters our air. And when you look at our duck marshes and, on our lakes, that cleans our water. And it cleans our water with no emissions. So I stand up for, our environment, and we have to make people aware. We just can't take it for granted that, oh, geez, we got plenty of water. We don't have to worry about it. That's not true. And like I said, I refuse to be selfish towards our future generations. We have to make sure that our children and their children and so on and so forth, that they're going to have the same opportunity and have the same great place to live that I had when I grew up.
One of the most dramatic moments I've ever witnessed in sports, and I was down at Dodger Stadium, game number 1 of the World Series between the Oakland A's and the Los Angeles Dodgers, was the dramatic home run. But let me go back through that season. That was your MVP year. What made it so special? What was so special for at least you as you reflect back on it?
Well, what made it so special was how far we came as a team. I mean, we were a team, and like I said earlier, we weren't picked to do anything. But give Tommy Lasorda credit, my teammates, that, within that clubhouse, we knew where we wanted to go. We refused to accept anything less. And just to be a part of that, and, they give me credit sometimes for, bringing us together. But I wasn't the only guy. And when you can come together like that as a team, that's a great feeling. That's the greatest challenge you can ever put upon yourself, is to not be selfish and think about yourself individually. Sacrifice for your team, and then when you get that ring, and that's what I love. Like when in 1984, the Detroit Tigers, we all grew up together. Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, Lance Parrish, Jack Morris, Dan Petrie, Dave Rose. We came up together. We got beat together, okay, and then we gelled together. Darrell Evans was the guy who then came over and was the final puzzle. When I went to Los Angeles, they had Oro Hershiser, Stevie Sachs, Mike Scioscia, Dave Anderson. Those guys were the nucleus, and they were young. And then when I came in, I was kind of like the Darrell Evans a little bit. And maybe I was just the guy who just brought us the last little bit that we could believe. And like I said, when you can have that team concept and realize that without that, you would never, attain your goal, it's just a great feeling.
Set up that dramatic moment at the end of game number 1 for me. What was going? You were back in the tunnel, and, of course, you were injured at that particular point. It was the only at-bat that you had in the World Series. Set it up for me.
Well, what happened is I couldn't play because I was hurt, and, I was kind of disappointed. As I sat in the clubhouse all game, I kind of created the moment that would happen in the 9th inning, and for the whole game. And I listened to Vince Scully telling me that I wasn't going to be playing and this and that, and the game just unfolded exactly as I had visioned it, and I knew it would be me against Dennis Eckersley, and I just said, look, they're counting on you. You have to get up there. And I sat there and visualized me hitting a home run to win a game, and us going on to win the World Series. Sure enough, it happened. I mean, I keep talking about that, and I'm telling you, it's no coincidence that things happen like that.
Kirk grabs the bat. He comes out of the dugout, heads to the plate against Dennis Eckersley. Jack Buck was at Mike's side.
We have a big 3-2 pitch coming here from Eckersley. Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable! A home run for Gibson. And the Dodgers have won the game 5-4. I don't believe what I just saw.
Did you think that you might not be able to get around the base paths?
I wasn't worried about it. That was just a great feeling. And like I said, I didn't play the rest of the series, and you had guys like Mickey Hatcher stepping up, Franklin Stubbs, Danny Heap, John Shelby, Jeff Hamilton. I mean, that really weren't household names, and that's proof right there. We can do it. Anybody can.
Are you happy with the way the book came out, Kirk?
I am, and I think that there's some great pictures in there, and people describe it as a coffee table book, but I think there's a good message in there, and I think if whoever takes that book and reads it, if you ever really wondered what Kirk Gibson's aroma was on the field, in the clubhouse, you read that book, I think you'll smell it a little bit.
Kirk, thank you very much. I've had a chance to read a portion of it. It's a book that I think people should read for more than just the sports value, for the human value as well. Thank you very much. The best to the family.
Thanks for having me.
Kirk Gibson, National League MVP. The name of the book is Bottom of the Ninth. We'll take a break, come back on the other side, continue across the country and around the world with you on America's Sports Talk Show.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them. But do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family. Or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. Call right now. That number is 800-485-6003.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1780. 855-325-1780. That's 855-325-1780. Do you have a problem hearing the television? Do you need to crank up the volume so loud your family is screaming at you? Then put on your TV ears. TV Ears has helped millions of people just like you hear TV loud and clear without cranking up the volume. For about $60 with a 30-day free trial, you can get your own set of TV Ears. When you wear TV Ears, you can mute the TV volume for private listening or let others watch TV with you. Order in the next 10 minutes and take us up on our 30-day home trial and very special price. TV Ears is a brand hearing professionals have trusted for more than 20 years. And through this special radio offer, you can get your very own for just $60. Just mention promo code RADIO. So put on your TV ears and make everyone happy. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. That's 800-984-4207.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Certainly one of the top coaches in any sport is Augie Garrido, as championships are nothing strange to Augie. He has led 5 different teams to national titles, including 3 when he was the head coach at Cal State Fullerton. You've had an awful lot of success in your long career, Augie. When you think back on it and reflect on it, what do you attest that success to?
Well, without any question or hesitation, it's about the great people that I have worked with, because baseball is such a team sport that it's impossible to accomplish anything without total commitment from the rest of the coaches around you, the managers, everybody. Most importantly, the quality of the player and the quality of the student athlete that I've been able to associate with as a result of everyone's efforts.
The dynamic of coaching and teaching kids at the college level, how is that different than maybe at the pro level?
Well, I think at the pro level, it's a long process in which they reveal themselves to themselves by playing so many games and coming to learn the game of baseball, whereas in a college environment, it's more about learning about your own ability, and it's more about learning in and of itself. So, you know, the college baseball team is an extension of the university where learning takes place. Baseball creates the adversity, and now the problem solving begins, and the players need to solve their problems connected to baseball, and mainly it's about maintaining your confidence, and it's the coach's role to help the player help himself keep his confidence and fulfill his destiny.
You're the only coach to lead teams from two different schools to national championships, and I'm just wondering, when I talk to coaches, I always like to ask them, and this is the first time, Augie, I've ever asked a baseball coach at the college level this question, which is harder, building a championship program or staying at that level?
That's a great question. I guess I don't know, because I don't see it that way. I don't think any of it's hard. I think picking fruit in the Napa Valley during the summer in 104-degree heat, I think that's hard. I think that baseball's about, it has its own adversities, but what we really focus on is the process itself, and we try to remove the reward of winning for the players so that the pressure doesn't build up. I think if you're playing to try to maintain a program, there's a lot of pressure in that, but I don't do that. And if you're trying to win a national championship, then I think there's a lot of pressure, but we don't do that either.
One of the things, Augie, that I have known from the great coaches that I've talked to over the years and gotten to know, Bill Walsh is a friend of mine, Mike Krzyzewski is as well, Bobby Knight, and I bring them up because I put you in that same category with them. You seem to, as they do, know how to push the buttons at the right time, and I think it comes down to communication, which I think is a very important factor at the college level, unlike the economic motivation they might find at the pro level. Can you talk a little bit about the communication and how important that is, not only from you to player, but players amongst themselves on the team?
Well, I think it's absolutely essential, and so you have to have the fundamentals of human behavior in place, where the principles that drive our team are the simplest ones of all. You already know what to do, what's right, so do that. Secondly, these are the team rules, and secondly, do your best, which will be the hardest thing you've ever been asked to do. And when you do your best connected to baseball, you're going to fail. So you're going to have to do your best again and again and again. And when you do the first three and you really commit to all of that, now you have something to give. You have a lot to give to your role, and you have a lot to give to your teammates, and that's the basic fundamentals of what we try to do.
Well, the other thing, too, and it's always been said about you, is that you're a fun guy, that you try to keep things very, very light, and one of the things that I, as an outsider observing you, really felt that why you do that is try to keep things on an even keel, not let the key team get too high or not let them get it too low, so therefore you can get the most out of them by having that middle ground. Am I correct in that observation?
You're absolutely correct. I'm amazed at the insight that you have. But, for example, on Saturday to the first championship game, a friend of ours that follows the team and a friend of the players, Richard Linklater, is a director that's just in the process of putting together all of the film has been shot for the Bad News Bears 2, starring Billy Bob Thornton, and written by the guys that did Bad Santa. And so, we had a bit of a problem after the championship game, and so that became pretty much national news. And he sent me a scene from the movie he's making, Bad News Bears 2, and he entitled the scene Second Place Finish. And I showed that to the team prior to the first game. And then the second game, on the bus on the way to the ballpark, we queued up Bull Durham, and Kevin Costner's a friend of mine, and so we queued it up to when he goes back to Susan Sarandon's house, and the 60-Minute Man is playing in the background.
Yeah.
And I got Kevin on the phone, and the players knew it, and I says, "Hey, dude, you are on the bus with us, and right now you're the 60-Minute Man, and you're in the tub." So that was our mighty Newt Rockney type performance prior to the game.
And I assume that just kind of came to you on the spur. Or did you have to think about using that as the motivational tool?
Oh, I don't think too much about having fun.
It's either there or not there.
It's either there or it's not there. I just think that I don't have one of those kind of plans, things just pop into my weird personality, and I just act on it because I know the kids need to be kids and they need to have fun. And if you're going to play the championship game, the best way to ensure yourself the best chance to win is to play it like you're 14 years old in your backyard.
Augie, coaches like you, I'm sure, when they reflect back on their careers and also maybe on a particular season, and they think about a player here or a player there, the star players are always the easiest ones to remember. But I'm sure there is a kid over the years, and many kids, matter of fact, that probably come to mind that bring a smile to your face because they did something that maybe was beyond their reach. Can you talk about some of those kids over the years of your career?
Well, in general, because I'm not sure the names are as important. We always have one of the intangibles or two of them that lead the team because they don't get to play, but they have a role on the team. And this year it was a bullpen catcher and a pitcher that was redshirting. The pitcher did the scouting of the opponents. The redshirt catcher caught all the bullpens. It goes all the way back to day one, and many times if these players become the unsung heroes, and we have an award for that. We have the Teammate of the Year award, and most of the time it goes to non-player. That our ultimate reward in our program is respect, and any role, when fulfilled to the best of a person's ability, can earn them respect for themselves, which is most important, and from their teammates. And that applies to every team we've ever had, is maintaining respect for the person that does the hardest work and gets the least credit.
You once said baseball is nothing more than another classroom in the educational process. Really, baseball is a metaphor for life, and I think it's easy to see that if you're an adult. How do you think the kids see it?
Well, I think they understand it in our program. I think that's why they are able to stay focused. They recognize that there is failure in the game. The failure is necessary because it's an important part of learning. If you never fail, you're not learning, or you're not trying to do things that you haven't experienced before. And baseball is going to create failure. So I think for sure when you recognize that when you fail, it's an opportunity to learn. Now, and when you succeed, it's an opportunity to enrich your self-esteem. There is no failure in baseball.
Willie Mays once said to me, Augie, he lamented the fact that what's missing from baseball is the fact that you don't hear players telling stories like they used to. And you know what? I happen to agree with him. And I see you managed up in the Alaska Summer League.
I did that.
I know there's got to be a story up there.
That's when Alaska was roaring. Those were the pipeline days, and the rivalries were intense between the Fairbanks Gold Panners and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots, and I was the manager of the Anchorage Glacier Pilots, and it was like the Pioneers' days. It was like the Old West. We played 22 times. I mean, there were fights in the stands. There were bets on every game. They burned up the umpire's car. They broke into the the chief of umpires in Fairbanks, and beat him up because he wouldn't throw the games the next day because these guys had $2,000 a game bet on the 22 games that we played, and they beat the guy up. And when they finally caught the guys, it was a board of directors from Fairbanks. So, and I'm serious about the cars. One time after the game was over, they just broke the windows out and threw gasoline in there and burned up the umpire's car because they thought he had done a bad job.
So much for civility. Tommy Lasorda told me once, because he was talking to me about the Dominican League, he said that the fans were passionate like you were talking about, but he said that, you know how it is down there, Ron. It rains an awful lot, and so we'd had a lot of rain, and this was a big game that was coming up, and so normally today what they do is maybe bring in a helicopter to dry off the field. Here they went out and put some gasoline on the field to try and dry it up. We
did that in Anchorage, and I guess we got the wrong kind of gasoline, and we closed down the airport.
That's what JP4 fuel will do.
We had so much black smoke coming off the inside.
Let me switch gears and talk to you about something a little bit on the serious side. I saw a piece on Real Sports by Armin Katayan that caught my attention, and it was about the use of the metal bats and how they can be very, very dangerous. And it was quoting the interview up there was with the University of Minnesota head baseball coach up there. Can you talk about that? Has it been good for college sports? I know why they did it, because of money, but how do you see it as a guy that's been around the college game for a long time?
Well, I've been able to see it go through different phases, and basically there was a point in time where they were playing guerrilla ball to win the College World Series. That was the 90s when LSU was going through that period. And the bat was just alive. It was like titanium. Balls were flying off of it, and it was all about home runs. And the integrity of the game was damaged badly by that. But they have really scaled those down. They can measure the exit speed, and they can control the technology that goes along with it. And so the NC2A committee wisely tone those bats down, and so they function like a wooden bat. They have enough technology to do that, and they also tone down the balls so that that didn't create a problem. So they've got it back under control. It's back to where it's just as safe or just as dangerous as playing with a wood bat.
I know the scouts tell me it's still very hard to be able to evaluate a kid because of the aluminum bat. Is there anything to that, or is that just an excuse?
No, I think that's true. I think that we use the wooden bat in a lot of our practice sessions because I want the players to feel their when the bat is not balanced, because they're a little bit more top-heavy than the metal bat. The metal bat will stay on the hitting plane a lot easier. It's a lot more forgiving. It's almost like, I don't know how to compare it to golf clubs because I'm afraid to play golf. But with a tennis racket, the metal tennis racket with a bigger surface is kind of what we're talking about with the metal bat. And we like to practice with a wooden bat because our players are going into professional baseball, and it does reveal your flaws in mechanics.
Augie, I want to thank you very much. You're welcome here. Take care, my friend, and come back and visit with us.
Anytime you choose.
Augie Garrido. We continue with more of you and Sports Byline.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low-cost airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. That's 800-932-1749.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Pick up your phone and call right now. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Another check of the numbers. NBA playoffs all squared up at 1-1 between Boston and Milwaukee as the Bucks take game number 2, 123-102. They led this one by 25 after 3, and that's because they outscored Boston by 21 in the third quarter. Antetokounmpo had 29 points, 10 rebounds as Boston outshot and out-rebounded. Or was out.
Hey, Mama Blasto, thank you for the follow on D-Live.
On the ice in the NHL, Columbus has a 2-1 advantage in their series with the Bruins winning game number 3, 2-1. Blue Jackets lead that series, as I said, 2-1. Bobrovsky getting the victory with 36 saves. Numbers in the National League, St. Louis edging Washington 3-2. The Cards have won 4 straight. Washington has lost 8 of 11. Wainwright gets the win. Tigers 3-1 better than Philadelphia as they come back with 3 runs in the third inning to win it. Cleveland, no problem with Miami, 7-4. They scored 4 in the third, and they take the lead at that particular time. Gonzalez, a 3-run shot. Mets come from behind and win 4-3 over Cincinnati. San Diego edged Atlanta 4-3 there, and also Milwaukee 4, Colorado 3. On the American League side, Boston beats Oakland, their 5th straight loss, 5-1. That's your sports update.
We love watching sports, but these days it's nearly impossible to catch all the best moments of your favorite games. Now with the new Sport Flip app, you can receive real-time, customized notifications so you know when your games are back after a commercial break, period change, or rain delay. Download Sport Flip from the App Store today and watch more sports.
I shared with you my interview with the late Augie Garrido. He passed away last year. Always enjoyed my conversations with him, and he always loved teaching kids sports. And he is the all-time winningest coach in Division I athletics and also 5-time National Coach of the Year. He led 5 different teams to national titles in baseball, 3 at Cal State Fullerton, 2 at Texas. And then Kirk Gibson was with us as well, 17 years, 13 in the American League, 4 in the National with the Dodgers and Tigers, member of World Series championship teams, 84 with the Tigers, 88 with the Dodgers, and, of course, that dramatic home run in the World Series against the A's. Hang around. We've got more coming your way on Sports Byline.
Hi, this is Edward Brown. Join me every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific Time as I host Sports Econ 101, the show where we look at sports from a business perspective right here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network.
USA Radio News with Wendy King.
President Trump met with top Democrats to discuss improving the nation's infrastructure.
This was a very, very good start.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the president agreed with Democrats to spend $2 trillion on infrastructure.
We're very excited about the conversation that we had with the president.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called it a very productive meeting.
Building infrastructure of America has never been a partisan issue.
Schumer was asked how the Democrats can hope to work with the president while the House leads investigations into him.
I believe we can do both at once.
No congressional Republicans took part in the session. One suspect is in custody after a shooting at the...
You're listening to the Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, broadcasting live 24/7 at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,284. Silver at $14.96, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,251. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Vice President Mike Pence confirmed Tuesday that the Trump administration is firmly on the side of the coup plotters in Venezuela, as violent clashes between the elected government and opposition forces led by Juan Guaido quickly escalated. Mint-Press News reports Pence's affirmation of U.S. support for the ongoing coup attempt in Venezuela came just hours after Guaido, surrounded by heavily armed soldiers and armored vehicles, called for a military uprising against the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. Vice President's statement of support for the coup plot was echoed by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and National Security Advisor John Bolton. Bolton, who has repeatedly threatened the elected Venezuelan government in the weeks leading up to Tuesday's attempted coup, urged members of the military to defect and join the side of the coup plotters. Washington significantly escalated its unilateral coercive measures in August 2017, when the Venezuelan government and state oil company were cut off from financial markets. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing for the Muslim Brotherhood to be labeled a terror group at the urging of Egypt's president, who visited the White House earlier this month. National Security Advisor John Bolton and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reportedly already support the designation, but officials at the Pentagon and elsewhere have been opposed and have been seeking more limited action. A senior U.S. official confirmed the request asked of Trump to make the designation, which Egypt has already done, in a private meeting during a visit to Washington on April 9. The anti-media reports that after the meeting, a bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers raised concerns about Egypt's record on human rights, new legislation to keep the president in office until 2030, and planned Russian arms purchases. If successful, the designation is likely to impact several U.S. mosques and Muslim organizations that have links to Brotherhood-affiliated groups or individuals. A new report on antimicrobial resistance calls for greater action by stakeholders at all levels, lest so-called superbugs claim 10 million lives a year. According to the Mind Unleashed, the report was released Monday by the UN Interagency Coordination Group on Antimicrobial Resistance. The report states, quote, unless the world acts urgently, antimicrobial resistance will have disastrous impact within a generation. The threat of antimicrobial resistance is already deadly, with 700,000 people dying each year as a result of drug-resistant diseases. There's also a problem of inequity and a lack of affordable access, which the report links to the deaths of nearly 6 million people annually, including 1 million children who die of preventable sepsis and pneumonia. Fast forward to 2050, and the report says AMR could cause as many as 10 million deaths each year under a worst-case scenario. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
2561 800-405-2561. That's 800-405-2561.
Live, worldwide, Sports Byline USA. And here's host, Ron Barr.
And glad you could hang around for another hour of this edition of Sports Byline. We got a good hour for you. I'll tell you what's coming up in just a second. But let me tell you about the rest of this week, because I've known Brad Gilbert for a long time. And if you know anything about tennis, then you certainly know the name Brad Gilbert. He lives here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and that's where I got to know him. And he was a guy that didn't have a lot of talent. He had enough talent to be able to play on the pro circuit. But you talk about a guy that could wear you down, a real grinder. It was Brad Gilbert. So he'll join us on the next Sports Byline. And also Dr. Gordon Gee is going to be here. He is the president of West Virginia University. I've known him for a long time as well. And the reason I'm going to check in with him is all the things that are happening in collegiate sports with the scandals in college basketball, what happened in women's gymnastics. And I want to get his read on it because he has been an enlightened man, an educator, who has really taken some steps over the years in the various places that he has either been a chancellor or a president of the university. And I think what you hear him say about the status of college athletics will be eye-opening to you. Plus, you know the name Omar Epps, the actor. We're going to be talking to him as well. And if you're into hockey, one of the all-time great names in that sport is certainly Scotty Bowman. And then as I look to Thursday, I see Doug DeCensi's going to be with us. And then on Friday, as we always do, checking in with Roy Eisenhart. Inside Angle is the name of the segment as we take a look at some of the stories and dig down deep and give you more information. Sal Berry will drop by with the Collector's Corner. So if you're into sports memorabilia and collecting, then you'll want to join us for that. So we try to give you a pretty good reason to join us here on America's Sports Talk Show. We're going to kick things off with Brad Sellers. Brad was a center power forward for 7 seasons in the NBA for the Bulls, who drafted him in the first round, and for Seattle, Minnesota, and Detroit. He grew up in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, and he still lives there, and he is the mayor of that city. And at 7 foot, he played his college ball first at Wisconsin and then on to Ohio State. And then right after that, we're going to talk some soccer from a different perspective. Mark Geiger will join us. Mark was one of 2 U.S. referees that were selected for the 2018 World Cup games. He has refereed many major international soccer matches, including the 2012 Olympics and also multiple World Cup games. And Mark has also refereed in the MLS. So we're ready to go. Brad Sellers coming your way next on Sports Byline.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
A banner year for your company.
Staples wants to help your business achieve big things with 20% back in rewards on your color printing.
Trust the pros at Staples to print whatever your business needs, like color presentations, brochures, and banners.
Prepare yourself for a banner year and banner savings.
With 20% back in rewards on your color printing. Right now at Staples.
Where there's a whole lot in store. And 6/22/19 in-store only. Exclusions apply. See staples.com/20back for details.
Some moms are into flowers and perfume for Mother's Day. That's just not me.
She's an awesome mom. I mean, she's a nurse, so it figures, right?
So when he and the kids gave me Blink security cameras last year for Mother's Day, I loved it.
Yeah, we're both worriers, and we work odd hours.
And with break-ins the next block over, our worst fear was that kids might come home and walk in on someone.
Yeah, and that's why we gave her a Blink security camera for Mom's Day.
Blink cameras are wireless and motion activated, so when they detect something moving around, we get an alert on our Blink smartphone app with a video clip of what it spotted.
Yeah, and Blink lets us know when our kids get home safe and sound.
Best Mom's Day gift ever.
Yeah.
And now through Mother's Day, May 12th, all indoor Blink cameras and systems are 20% off. Yep, 20% off. Home security just got easier. Get the perfect Mom's Day gift at blinkprotect.com/offer. Blinkprotect.com/offer. That's blinkprotect.com/offer. Blink is an Amazon company.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 4422 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 4422. Code 4422. Enjoy.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents.
which means you're going to start telling your kids to clean up before the cleaning lady comes. Doesn't make sense, but you're the parents and they're the kids. You're going to start telling them that now, too. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance. And there's your opening to remind them who pays the bills around here. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Brad Sellers joins us on Sports Byline. Brad was a center power forward for 7 seasons in the NBA for the Bulls, who drafted him in the first round, and for Seattle, Minnesota, and Detroit. He grew up in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, and he still lives there, where he is the mayor of the city. Tell me a little bit about growing up in the Midwest, in that town particularly.
Well, Warrensville is a suburb of Cleveland. So I'm a Midwestern born and raised, and it's throughout my blood. And, the best thing I can tell you is that if you're from around these parts and you know about the Cleveland Browns and you know who I am, we are a backer of our people to the end. And I only know one way, I just say, growing up here in the snow, I need to see 4 seasons throughout a calendar year, and anything different than that does not play well in my book.
If you take a look at the Cleveland Indians during a period of time, the Browns during a period of time, I always think the fans must be glutton for punishment there.
Well, listen, we're trying and true. We're not fair weather people. If you're with us, if we're with you, we're going to roll with you to the end. We're going to take the good and the bad. Now, we get to talk about you, but we try to prevent the others from doing the same thing. And, we say every dog has a day, and it looks like the Browns' day is about to come.
Tell me a little bit about when you were growing up and, say, would go to a Cleveland Indians game or go to a Cleveland Browns game, what that atmosphere was like, because I've been in both of the old stadiums, and I remember what it was like when I was doing play-by-play.
Well, the Browns situation was different. When I was growing up, the Browns were a winner, right? That's what they were. And we only knew playoffs. We only knew chances to make we squandered 2 chances to get to the Super Bowl, but I was just born in the last years of Jim Brown, and then I remembered growing up, Bernie Kosar and the Red Right 88 and all that action going on with the Browns, just a fumble away from getting to the Super Bowl. And after that, so I only knew them that way. The Indians were different. The Indians were always a basement dweller. You go down to Old Municipal Stadium, and it would be like they would give the tickets away, right? And all you had to do was do a survey in the Cleveland Plain Dealer, you get 2 tickets. And I was like, that's how I went down to watch the Indians play.
Yeah, I got to share a story with you. I was doing a playoff game between the Oakland Raiders and also the Cleveland Browns in the old stadium on the lake. Now, my broadcasting partner was a Hall of Fame running back who I will not tell anybody who it is, but it was so cold that day because that was the year in which the Raiders became the first team to go on to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. So it's -12 with a wind chill factor of -32. Now, I had never been in an atmosphere like that. So I always worked with the windows open so I could get the ambiance of the crowd. And so
not that day.
Not that day. Well, I did that one day. That was the mistake I probably made because I said as we started the second half, I said, well, and I used his name. I said, I see the temperature is -12 with a wind chill factor of -32. Now, Brad, it was a throwaway line. And this person said, Ron, at 32 degrees, your vital parts freeze. And I'm thinking, where the hell's he going with this? And the next thing he said to me, at -32, they fall off, and your voice is getting a little high.
Listen, those are temperatures here. I've got my own rules and standards, right? So, we're not a city that had the thinking to dome our stadium. Everybody here wanted to be an outdoor element in winter football. So I've got my own standards. Now, there's a temperature degree that I will not go down there on. Right? So I'm not going to sit up here and say, I'm going to go with you to the end. No, I'm not going to go with you to the end. I'm going to roll with you to the end, but it's probably going to be indoors in front of a TV.
Okay, you're a local guy, so you know the feel of it and what it's like. What is the dog pound really like for somebody who is a Browns fan?
Well, the dog pound, if you're a group that was devised under the Hannaford Dixon Browns, Dirk Winterfield Browns. It was really a group that was a low-budget ticket that Hannaford really empowered. And so it became a hot ticket because it's just the wildest, rabbitest fans that you could have in the place. And it was always a ticket where it was affordable to go down there, and it became really like a badge of honor and courage to go down there, because those are some of the winds that were whipping off the stadium right by the lake. If you were late in the season, you were a real rabid fan to be down there catching all that, and it just became a thing. So guys like, I'm sitting in Dog Pound, I'm sitting in Dog Pound.
The Recovery Channel, thank you for the follow.
Let me ask you, how tall were you when you were growing up and, say, in high school? I say that because I know that kids that are a little bit different can be bullied, they can be teased and everything. What was it like for you, Brad?
No, I was always good. But I've been always a fairly popular guy where I am in Warrensville, and I grew up. I would tell you, I started the ninth grade at 6 foot. 6 foot tall in the ninth grade, and I graduated from high school at 6'10.5". So 10.5 inches in a 4-year span. Right, that's how much I grew. I could never really tell that I was sprouting like that. All my friends said, "Boy, you're getting bigger and bigger," and I was like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And so for those who don't know, you never know when you're growing. You can't tell it yourself until somebody really takes a stick out and measure you and lets you know where you are. But I had a good upbringing. I enjoyed my time here.
And you know as well as I do, when you get to a certain height, nobody is going to mess with you.
Listen, I was about 6'10.5" when I graduated. Well, I was 6'10.5" when I graduated from high school. I weighed about $180. So you can imagine thin and a rail. And I was thin when I was playing, but I was really thin, right? So, but like I said, I grew up in a good neighborhood and good friends and conscientious folks and people that really cared about the community. And, by osmosis, I guess I was absorbing it as a young kid.
Somebody with the talents that you had in basketball, the size that you had for basketball, I was surprised you got out of the state in the beginning and started playing your college basketball at Wisconsin before you transferred to Ohio State. What's the story there?
Well, there's a story here. And so I think the Big Ten Network was the first one to really flush it out. Anybody that knows me, that if you grow up in this area, you're pretty much a Big Ten. You should be a Big Ten person, right? Because that's our lifeblood, bread and butter around here. Obviously, it's a big Buckeye State where I am, and Ohio State Buckeyes loom large. So, like any good 17-year-old, when I decided that I was being recruited by many colleges in this nation, I settled in on one, right? And the school I settled in on was the University of Michigan. The only problem was 17, you couldn't sign the letter of intent. You needed your parents to sign it. And my father was not a Michigan fan. And so he refused to sign the letter of intent for me to go to the University of Michigan, right? He's an Ohio State guy through. And at that point, I had decided that, well, if you're not going to sign the papers for me to go to Michigan, then I'm definitely not going to Ohio State. That's out of the question. And I pulled out the map, looked around, I said, Wisconsin, they had a pretty good recruiting class. That's where I'm going. So the coach at the time was actually from Cleveland. So I was like, felt like it was a good fit. It was far enough away from home. We actually had 4 guys that ended up playing in the NBA. One of them actually out in Seattle, Corey Blackwell, Jerry Reynolds, myself, Scott Roth. It was about 4 of us. And we felt like we would go to the Big Ten and really turn it on its ear. 4 freshmen, really getting busy, highly recruited guys. And we learned a good lesson that was not to be at all. And so after 2 years of banging my head and taking a lot of lumps, a lot of personal successes, but team successes were few and far between, I turned my attention back towards home, and that's how I ended up back in Ohio State, where my father was sure to know as soon as I came back to the door, this is where you should have been in the first place.
We got a seconds left before we have to break here, and I'm just wondering, when you went to Ohio State and you had a chance to play in a more comfortable situation, both on the home front and in college basketball, did you notice any changes in yourself?
Oh, yeah, I did, because I obviously I had 2 years of college under my belt. The atmosphere was...
Kimmy Portal, thank you for the follow in D Live.
2 hours away from home. family living in Columbus. It just was a good fit. All my high school, a lot of my high school colleagues were going to school at Ohio State, so I felt right at home from the beginning. It made me feel like this was the place I should have been.
Brad, what did you think the NBA may be like, and how did it turn out to be similar to or different from what you thought?
Well, watching on TV, let me tell you, it's definitely different being involved in it, because you're playing against the best of the best. And I had to come to learn that the best of the best really meant the best of the best, right? That means you had to really be prepared. It was almost like going to school every day and making sure you're ready for the exam, because there was a lesson waiting for you at every position. And for the position I was playing, small forward, I was seeing the best of the best. And so I took a lot of lessons early.
Brad Sellers is with us, and when we come back on the other side, we're going to talk about his NBA career, power forward and also center for 7 seasons in the league, and he was drafted by the Bulls. That came in the first round, spent 3 years with them, also went on to Seattle, Minnesota, and Detroit, grew up in Ohio. We continue across the country and around the world. Good to have you with us on Sports Byline.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them, but do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family. Or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. Call right now. That number is 800-485-6003. Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low-cost airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Attention business owners. Are you struggling while waiting for your customers to pay on their net 30, 60, or 90-day invoices? Can't get a business loan? Have no equity? Bad credit? Or maybe no credit at all? Then you need to call AmeriFactors right now. AmeriFactors will give you cash for your invoices and there's nothing to pay back. We simply buy your account receivables, and if those clients don't pay on the invoices, we take the loss. We give you funds based on your account receivables, not your credit. And 98% of all applicants are approved. It's that simple. With AmeriFactors, there's no more waiting for your customers to pay. We give you the funds up front, then we wait for your customers to pay us. Fund your business today. Call AmeriFactors right now.
800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. That's 800-847-1183.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Brad Sellers has joined us here on Sports Byline USA. As I said, he came out of Ohio State after starting his college career at the University of Wisconsin and then drafted in the first round by the Bulls. Tell me about the Bulls team at that particular time. What was the makeup of it at that time?
Well, just a bunch of young guys that really didn't know what they had walked into. First of all, it was a great nucleus of young players. I got there. Michael was in his third year. coming behind me was Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, and the year behind me. And it was just a great group of guys. I mean, I don't think you could, as a player, you could ask for more walking into a young situation in a great city of Chicago that I don't think I really had that much familiarity with. That I did live there, but I really didn't know. She was living in the suburbs. I really didn't know much about the city, and I didn't know how rabid the fan base was in Chicago. And so I came to appreciate it. And for me, it was a great experience. I thought I'm a Midwest guy, and it was straight Midwest because these were Big Ten people, the Northwestern people, the Atlanta, the Illinois people. I mean, it was just great. It was a great environment.
I always found that professional athletes understand, appreciate another professional athlete better than the media or just the fans. So the first time you saw Michael Jordan in person, what did you think?
Well, I saw Michael Jordan. I got to go back to my high school days. The United States Olympic Committee used to put an event on in the country. It was that mimicked the Olympics. It was called the National Sports Festival. And I was selected to play out of that coming out of high school. In the same year, Michael Jordan was selected to play in it for the South team. They divided the country up into four teams: the East, Midwest, South, and West. And Jordan was playing on the South, and I was on the Midwest, and Patrick Ewing was in the East, and there were just a number of great players. But there was this guy that I met on the bus. I didn't know who it was, right, because I was just, fresh out of Cleveland. And I talked to him a little bit, and then we were on our way to the Carrier Dome in Syracuse to play. And as I got dressed and come out in the tunnel to wait for the next game to go, the South was playing the East. It ended up being Jordan versus Ewing. There was this one kid that was doing some miraculous things on the floor. And they had the place in a frenzy. And I kept looking, and I said, that's that guy that was on the bus. Little did I know that was going to be Jordan. That was my first experience with Michael Jordan, right? And then I got to play with him as a pro. I mean, you used to marvel at the things he did. I mean, he was a competitor. I mean, he was a straight competitor. I only knew one way. He only knew winning. That's all he understood. And that's all he was willing to understand.
Brad, one of the things that I've always said about Michael is that he understood the game so well that he knew what he had to do game in and game out. Maybe it was to find the hot hand of another teammate. Maybe it was to score. Maybe it was to dive on the floor for a loose ball. Am I correct in that observation?
Oh, yeah, he played to win. And the one thing that I want you to recognize is and understand, he evolved as time went on, because the Jordan when I got there in the initial years was different than the Jordan at the end, because in the onset, he was trying to carry the load all by himself. And then over time, he learned to distribute it, still be in command of what was going on, but trusting his teammates a lot more. And I think that's how the Bulls started. That's how we started to ascend. When we started understanding what we were really holding, we were just some young. Well, I'll tell you this: we were just some young guys in Chicago having fun. That's all we were.
One of the things that's always difficult with a team that has a lot of talent is the fact that how the chemistry aspect works out. I mean, when you've got a guy that's the go-to guy, that he wants to be the go-to guy, the team wants him to be the go-to guy, it can affect the rest of the other players. How did the Chicago Bulls make that work so well?
Well, the one good thing that we just had a great working relationship. We were friends, right? I mean, we were really friends. So if somebody had some personal problems, you could discuss it with your friend. It wouldn't hold it like an amble over your head. Still to this day, that group is still tight-knit. It is. It's just a good group of guys. And so what happened, everybody had to claw and find their space. Now, there were moments, plenty of moments where everybody wasn't in agreement with how things were being handled, right? And so you had your little rifts every now and then, but it always came back together. And when it came back together, it was all bonded in solidarity. And I think that still holds true to this day.
I'll tell you and share with you a comment that Michael made directly to me when we were talking one time. I was in Chicago, had him on the show there, and I asked him about failure. He said, when the game is on the line, I want to be the one to determine the outcome. If I succeed, I'll take the glory. If I fail, I'll take the blame. And you know as well as I know that not everybody can be comfortable with failing.
No, yeah, I mean, that was, I don't think never a true statement was said. I mean, that's just the makeup of who he was, right? And let me say who he was, who he is, because he's still like that today. I know it. I can see it in the face when I'm watching him on the sidelines, squirming as the Hornets are not doing well. I see it on his face. He only knows one way, and that's what he brought to the table every day. And the other thing he did, and I don't know if we could appreciate it being young people at the time, he was holding everybody accountable, right? There was no, you couldn't fool yourself. You know, he wouldn't allow you to fool yourself, right? Either you're getting it done or you weren't.
You know, he reminds me of Muhammad Ali and also Larry Bird. They both would create controversy in order to get their best game out of themselves and their team. I always found that interesting because Michael would say, I'd read a quote where he had said something that somebody else had already said about the team or the game coming up, and the player would say, I didn't say that, but I knew why Michael was doing that.
Well, let me tell you something. And so the other guys, it's funny how people get amnesia, right? Let me tell you one thing that he did on a daily basis. Wherever we went, he was keen on picking up every periodical, listening to every interview. He used that as fuel, as I only call it, rocket fuel for himself. So if you had an errant statement about Jordan coming to town or something about Jordan, he would read it. I mean, he'd be on the back of the bus at the local newspaper. Oh, what are you reading this paper for, right? And he's like, I got to see what they're saying, right? And so he would use that because he would find a quote the day that my good friend, my good friend Craig Elo from the Cavaliers made an offshoot comment about being able to, I think the reporter in Cleveland asked him about being able to stop Jordan. He could hold him under, hold him under control. That's basically what we're trying to say. That Elo was a good defensive player, and we're going to put him with Jordan because he could probably hold him in check, right? And I don't think Craig said it. I don't know if Lenny Wilkins said it. Somebody said it, right? And he took that and, you really? This is what you said. Huh? He gave Elo 69 that day.
We only have a couple minutes left, and I want to ask you about your overseas experience, Spain, Israel, Greece, and France. And I'm assuming you did that because you wanted to become more, I'll use the word worldly. Am I correct in that observation?
Well, I ended up becoming worldly. I took it as a flyer in between a contract, and I got over to Europe. I was in France, so I'm going playing with Paris, right? And it was so nice that I was like, why am I banging my head back here? This is comfortable. It's part of the world that I would typically never see or be able to live in. You can visit it, but living there is different. And I just love it. I love the people. I love the place. And I truly believe it helps me about what I do today. My world perspective has totally changed.
We only have a couple minutes left, but you're involved in a controversy, and it's not about taxes, not about schools, or about housing. It appears the Guinness World Record has come up short about 2 inches as they have named another politician as the tallest politician in the United States. He is at 6'10", and you are at 7 foot. Where does this controversy stand today?
Well, I think we're in the well, this is how I started it. A friend of mine at the NBA called me, emailed me early in the morning saying that an article had come out about Guinness, and they were like, that's mistaken because they're not the world's tallest politicians. So I kind of laughed it off in the beginning, right? I didn't pay it any attention. It was comical to me. But the people in Cleveland, if you know anything about the Cleveland folks, they take everything serious, right? By the time I got to their office that day, the mayor's office phone would not stop ringing about people who had seen this article, and they were like, this is a problem, right? And they wanted it corrected. And I was like, yeah, we'll just play along. They're like, no. We need you to correct this because this is, when they see the Guinness Book of World Record, people think that everything is in there is factually accurate. Well, this was not accurate because this wasn't even close. And my staff made it a mission to make sure that they contacted Guinness to make sure that they had let them know that it was mistaken. And so we're in the process now of trying to correct that. What I did not know, that Guinness had this elaborate application process you have to go through. They have to measure you, they measure you 3 different ways now, standing, sleeping, and something else. And I was like, you don't even have to do that. All you got to do is go to any SID, and they'll be able to show you.
Hey, listen, I really have enjoyed this conversation and how you talk about growing up outside of Cleveland. Now that you're the mayor of the town, I think that is wonderful. But you obviously enjoyed your playing career, but enjoyed life as well. I mean, it's amazing to hear somebody at this point after their career talk so fondly about the professional basketball life that they had. Brad, you are welcome here anytime. If you find yourself in San Francisco, drop on by and sit with me in the studio, my friend.
I appreciate it very much. Thanks for having me on.
Brad Sellers, again, center forward for 7 seasons in the NBA, playing for the Bulls. They drafted him in the first round, and then after that he briefly went to Seattle, Minnesota, and Detroit, and he grew up in a small town, Warrensville Heights, Ohio, lives there and is the mayor of the city. We've got you on America's Sports Talk Show.
We all have those home projects we'd like to get to before summertime, but there's always something that gets in the way. For a lot of people, they worry about overpaying for their home projects, and how can you be sure you're getting a fair price? That's where Home Advisor can help. Home Advisor's True Cost Guide shows what others paid for similar projects so you know you're getting a fair price. Home Advisor can even help you find the right pro for your job. Whether it's a leaky faucet or a major remodel, just tell them what you need, and they'll match you with top-rated pros who can do the job and are available to do the work. You can read customer reviews, request quotes, book appointments, and it's free to use. Home Advisor makes it easy, so don't wait. Get those projects done before the busy season hits so you can relax this summer. To find the right pro at a fair price, just ask Home Advisor. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app today.
Jared has hundreds of gifts you could get Mom this Mother's Day, like a tennis bracelet.
Aww.
Or a diamond necklace.
Thank you, sweetie.
But there's only one that will make her feel like this.
Yes!
With Jared's Diamond Price Match Guarantee, you can finally get Mom the one gift she's always wanted.
Oh, I love you so much.
For you to get engaged. Shop at a Jared store today and dare to be devoted.
We promise to match any price on a loose certified diamond of the same characteristics and quality from any other jewelry retailer as validated by Jared personnel in store. See jared.com/price match for details.
Taming the briar patch, mowing the lawn, trimming the Yeti. Whatever you call it, it's about time we talked about manscaping. Guys, you manscape, right? You know, keep things trimmed and fresh below the waist. 9 out of 10 women of all ages prefer their guy manscaped. But you got to have the right tools for the jewels, or you'll look like you used a machete. Pop over to manscaped.com and check out their perfect package. No, not that perfect package. I'm talking about the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0 that was a smash hit on Shark Tank. It features the lawnmower, a precision trimmer engineered for below-the-waist grooming. Its skin-safe technology means no more accidental nicks and burns. Check out the lawnmower and the amazing grooming and hygiene products that come with your perfect package. What's that saying? Oh, yeah. Trim the shrubs and the tree stands taller. Get 20% off plus free shipping today. Visit manscaped.com and use promo code USA. Again, use promo code USA at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com.
Lumber Liquidators Flooring Company has you covered with the hottest styles for any room. Get 15 to 25% off our best-selling floors, like Rose Canyon Pine Waterproof Vinyl and Wide Plank Willow Manor Oak Hardwood. Get started today with special financing, and we can arrange the installation for you. See the flooring experts at your local Lumber Liquidators today. Lumber Liquidators, beautiful floors for less.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Mark Geiger joins us on Sports Byline. Mark was one of 2 U.S. referees that were selected for the 2018 World Cup games, and he has refereed many major international soccer matches, including the 2012 Olympics and multiple World Cups. And he is also the first American to referee 3 matches at a men's FIFA World Cup, and also the first American to referee a knockout stage match, and he also referees in the MLS. Mark, first of all, I have to ask you that at the elite and World Cup level, what's the hardest part about being a game referee?
I think it's got to be just managing the players. You know, with Major League Soccer, you know the players, as you've refereed the teams and the players for so many years and so many times. But when you get to the international stage, many times this is the first interaction that you've had with any of the players. So you don't have that relationship with them going into it, and you have to reestablish yourself in every single game to get your credibility through the decisions that you make.
Mark, one of the things I've said over the years is the fact that I think every team, and particularly when it comes to international matches, every country, their teams reflect the personality of the country. So in a sense, as a referee, you almost have to understand that a little bit about the personality of the country and maybe thus the personality of the team on the field. Do you not?
No, absolutely. And we have coaches, professional football coaches that work with us to talk about team tactics, and we also meet with the technical staff to talk about the approach to the game. I've had matches where they've asked me to take a much calmer approach when managing the players, and there are other games where you must be much more firm and stronger in your man management skills. So that plays a big part in how we referee each game.
You know, it's interesting. I think the teams can feel out each other when they're on the field, you know, about what they're going to have for a game. How long does it take you to get a feel for what's going to happen in the game and what type of game it's going to be?
Well, you try to do your homework ahead of time and try to anticipate what you're going to see out there, but usually within the first 5 minutes you get a sense of how they're going to play, how aggressive they're going to be, and what many of their tactics are going to be. So through warm-up, you're watching them as much as possible, but once that whistle blows, you really get a good indication of what you're going to get for those 90 minutes.
The late Bill Walsh was a friend of mine, and he and I used to talk, and I'd laugh because I'd see him before a football game in the NFL kind of working the officials. Look for this and this guy and everything. Do they work you as a referee, either the coaches or the players at some point?
Maybe not so much the coaches. You don't get to interact with them too much during the game, but certainly the players are trying to get a leg up on their opponents, and if it means giving the referee a hard time or making some comments here and there to influence that next decision, they're going to take every advantage that they can to get that next decision. So, yeah, that happens throughout the entire game.
I know, and talking to umpire friends of mine, they always tell me that if you ever say you, start a sentence with you can bet they're going to be thrown out of the game. In the case of soccer and for you, what's the breakdown on what you'll tolerate?
You know, it's such a passionate sport, and there's so much emotion out on the field. You try not to overreact. Because many times the reaction that you get is just that. It's just a reaction, and it's not anything that's personal. But once they start getting really public with their gestures or get personal with their comments, that's where you need to draw the line and start coming out with the yellow or possibly even red card if it's abusive and insulting.
Because of the speed of the game, I'm just wondering how you interpret flopping, because we do see a lot of it in soccer, especially at the elite levels. So how do you differentiate, especially with the game moving as quickly as it does?
It's so difficult, and you know the players and who likes to stay on their feet and who may go down with a small amount of contact. That's part of the homework that we do. So it's important for us to make sure that we're in the right position at the right time, and we're training just like the players are training. We're running 6 to 9 miles in every single game. So we're working hard to get ourselves in the position that we can make that interpretation. And it's difficult because we get one look at it and it's a split-second decision. So some of these players have become very good at deceiving the referees and hiding the dive that they're doing. But we look for little telltale signs that tell us if it's true contact or if it's something that's being simulated.
Instant replay came into play in 2018 at the World Cup at Russia. How did that change officiating for you out on the field?
I think it's been wonderful because you get to know before the game finishes if your major decisions were correct. I mean, when the VAR is telling you check complete in your earpiece, you know, it gives you that extra confidence going forward. And you can even tell the players, hey, they already checked it. The penalty or the red card or the decision is a correct decision, which helps with our management. So from that standpoint, it's been absolutely incredible having that tool for us.
Mark, when you're down on the field with an international match, I suppose the players could say anything they want about you, and you may not understand it because you don't speak their language. What is that atmosphere for you? I mean, when they turn and say something to you, you have no idea what they might be saying.
And if they do it with a smile, it's certainly nothing that I'm going to deal with. So, but it's the same thing with us trying to convey a message to them. You know, we're using body language, you're using gestures, you're using facial expressions, and tone of your voice. So when we need to convey a message, even though they may not speak English, you know, you can still send your message and receiving it the same way. You can tell certainly in their body language and their tone if it's something that they're just trying to request a little bit of help with something, or if they're truly annoyed or mad or angry at a decision that you've made. So it's like talking to your pets. You know, your pets certainly know when you're upset with the tone of your voice. So the same can be said about the players that don't speak the same language as the referee.
Mark, I think you know as well as I do, when it comes to the World Series, that's a different competition. One of the big four golf matches, that's a different competition, the NBA championship. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about World Cup play and what that atmosphere is like and what it's like playing at that level for the prize that they're playing for.
Well, the entire experience of a World Cup is just incredible. Just walking through the streets outside of your own hotel, you're seeing spectators and fans just walking around with each other and sharing experiences, wearing their jerseys and their colors. You know, it's just a phenomenal experience from that standpoint. When you get to the stadiums, every stadium is just jam-packed with the colors of the two teams. The flags are flying. You hear the chants and the songs from the two teams. So there's so much energy and excitement and emotion that goes into it. When we're in the tunnel with the teams and ready to walk out on the field, there's a little bit more anxiety, a little bit more nervousness, because you know that the game you're about to referee and every decision that you make is going to have such a big impact on the overall result of the tournament. So a little bit more than the professional leagues that we work in, maybe a little bit more than your standard games. You know, there's that extra excitement to going into the match. But for myself, as soon as I blew that starting whistle, then it just felt like a normal game, and you're back into your routine of officiating the match as best you can.
After a match is over with, tell me the evaluation process that you go through so that you know that you're either happy with the job you did or something that you might be able to do better in the next world-class match like that.
Yeah, so every game is obviously evaluated. So you have an assessor that's in the stadium that will come to the locker room after the game, and when you get back to the hotel, you know, they'll sit down and do a debrief with you, and they'll talk about the key match incidents. At that point, they're not so concerned about a throw-in or a corner kick or goal kick that may have been wrong. We're talking about the possible penalty decisions, the possible yellow card, red card decisions, the ones that really influence the outcome. When you get back to the headquarters, you know, they'll have a second debrief. So every few days we'll have clips from the matches from the previous few days, and we'll talk about positioning and movement. You'll talk about tackles and tactical fouls, handball, you know, those penalty area incidents, and they'll really highlight the positive ones, and you'll showcase a few of the ones where we could do better. So not to harp on the referee and discredit the referee that was already on the game, but to get ourselves ready for the matches that are coming up. And it also gives us an opportunity to be more consistent and uniform in our approach to each of the matches.
Mark Geiger is with us. He was one of 2 U.S. referees that were selected for the 2018 World Cup games. Mark, being out on the pitch with some of the great players around the world, you've had a chance to witness them up close and personal. What is the commonality that the truly, truly great players all have?
You know, they're professionals, you know, and that's what you see from the greatest players. You know, they're out there to showcase their skills. They're human beings, and they show that out on the field. You know, I haven't really had a major negative experience with one of the world-class players that you see. They're good people. They talk to you, and they want a good game from you, just like you want a good game from them. So the true professional out there is really what you want to see, and I'm happy to say that the experiences I've had with these world-class players has been just that.
I'm going to make a statement here, and feel free to correct me if you think I'm wrong about this, but I've always said about the truly great players that when the game is on the line, they want to be the one to determine the outcome. And Michael Jordan once said to me, if I succeed, I want the glory. If I fail, I'll take the blame. And as you know, not every pro athlete can handle something like that. They also seem to have a sense of what they need to do in terms of the rest of the team to either make other people better or be able to advance their team in some way. Am I correct in that observation?
Oh, absolutely, and we see that a lot in Major League Soccer as well, because we've had so many high-profile players coming over, and really what they're doing to the league, not only putting butts in the seats and raising the profile of the league, but they're making the players around them even better. You know, your starting 11 are typically your best players from each team, but there's another 15 players behind them, you know, that are training every day with these world-class athletes, and they raise the level of every single player on the team. You know, the other players feel like they need to match the energy level and the professionalism of these stars, and it just makes each team and the league that they're playing in, or the competition that they're playing in, that much better.
As you were on the airplane flying out of Russia, and I'm sure you had a chance while you were sitting there to kind of reflect, you're leaving the country, you'd worked the World Cup and everything. What thoughts did you have?
You know, you just try to go back and you think about the games and think about what you did. It's a nice time to be able to decompress, because when you're in the moment, you're just thinking about the game that you've been assigned or the next game that you're going to have. So you really don't have a chance to think about the atmosphere and the games that you handled, the players that were on the field with you. You know, so for me, it's just exciting to think that I've had an opportunity to referee in 2 World Cups. I've had the opportunity to do some knockout stage games. You know, so it's just satisfying, and knowing that I'm trying to be a role model for other referees in the United States, and hopefully the job that I did opens the door for more referees from the U.S. In future World Cups.
I'm sure being that close to the action at a major level, there are things that make you smile, maybe not smile while you're officiating a game, but you think back upon that. What were some of the lighter moments for you?
You know what? It's the camaraderie that we have. You know, we get back to the hotel and we're constantly watching the games, and we're all together sharing our own experiences. So being able to share experiences with referees from all over the world, you know, some serious moments and some lighter ones as well. You know, that's, for me, is the best part, and that camaraderie is really what makes this worth it to me, you know, to be able to share those experiences and be with referees from all over the world.
What's the differentiation when you're officiating a game, as particularly at the World Cup level, as to whether you're going to pull a yellow or a red card?
You know, you try to manage, and really the yellows and the reds are used to modify behavior. So if there's obviously some situations where you have no choice, it's a 100% yellow card or 100% red card, but there's so many situations that fall in between. So if you've been able to establish a relationship with a particular player, or you've been able to talk to them throughout the match, and you feel like through communicating with them you can modify the behavior, then you can keep the yellow card in the pocket. But through all the seminars that we have and all the training, we get a certain number of considerations and criteria to tell us when to pull out the yellow and pull out the red. So we try to use that as a last resort when we have no other options, but it's just basically used to modify behavior.
Briefly, what is it going to take MLS and the United States soccer effort to the next level?
It's going to take time. You know, we're getting better and better. The crowd sizes are getting larger. The skill level is getting better. The league is only 23 years old, and if you compare that to the other great leagues, La Liga, Serie A, the EPL, you know, it's a very young league. So I think as the league continues to grow and we attract more players from around the world at younger ages to come over, we're going to see MLS and soccer in general grow in North America to astounding heights.
Mark, I want to thank you very much for joining us here on Sports Byline. Very insightful, and congratulations on the honor of officiating at the 2018 World Cup games over in Russia. You are welcome back here anytime, so come back and visit us again.
All right. Thank you very much, Ron. I really appreciate it.
Mark Geiger again. Mark, one of 2 U.S. referees that were selected for the 2018 World Cup games, and he has refereed many major international soccer matches, including the 2012 Olympics and also multiple World Cup games. We continue on Sports Byline.
Rebuild or replace transmission, $3,200. Anti-lock brake system, $1,000. Rebuild or replace engine, $2,400. Truth is, once your manufacturer's warranty runs out, it's all on you. Every last cent. Get protection for covered repairs with a vehicle service contract from Toco Warranty. Unlike other companies, with Toco, there's no down payment, and the monthly payments are really affordable. Not sure how long you're keeping your car? At Toco, you can pay as you go. Keep your hard-earned cash and call Toco Warranty right now at 800-222-2313 to save big money on covered auto repairs. Prices vary by vehicle, but for about the cost of a tank of gas per month, a Toco plan has your back on expensive covered car repairs. Monthly payments are very affordable. Get your free quote now. Call Toco at 800-222-2313. That's 800-222-2313. 800-222-2313. Cancellation fee may apply, subject to eligibility. Not available in Missouri and Washington. Waiting period and deductible apply. Coverage provided and administered by Warrantech Corporation or its affiliates. Not affiliated with any manufacturer or dealership. Visit TocoWarranty.com for complete terms and conditions.
Where do you want to go on a vacation or honeymoon? The Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico? How about Disney or a cruise? At Superior Cruise and Travel, we've got you covered. We'll assign you your own travel concierge. They'll help you design a custom vacation plan that you can't find online. And the service is completely free. You can't compare the value of this to any other online travel company. We can help you plan a custom vacation anywhere in the world. We even offer payment plans with no credit card required. Now you pay off your vacation on your time schedule. Call now and mention the promo code RADIO and save up to $500. Book your custom trip. Call Superior Cruise and Travel now and talk to one of the highest rated travel agencies in the country with a 5-star A+ online rating.
800-570-9631. 800-570-9631. 800-570-9631. That's 800-570-9631.
If you or a loved one is suffering from a physical or emotional condition that has left you unable to work, then listen carefully. Take this number down. 800-593-7491. That's 800-593-7491. When you call, you'll speak with a Social Security disability expert and get a free evaluation to see if you may qualify for disability insurance benefits from the U.S. government. That's right, a monthly cash payment paid directly to you from the Social Security Administration. Whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied disability benefits, call now. The disability attorneys at Pinnacle Disability can help you build your case, file an appeal, and represent you at no upfront cost to you. Don't wait another minute to see if you may qualify for your Social Security disability benefits. Call Pinnacle Disability Group at 800-593-7491 for your free case evaluation. That's 800-593-7491. 800-593-7491. Call now.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
And that's going to wrap up this hour of Sports Byline. We talked some soccer with a longtime referee, top official in soccer, Mark Geiger. He was one of 2 U.S. referees that was selected for the 2018 World Cup games. He's refereed many major international soccer matches, including the 2012 Olympics and multiple World Cups, and he has also refereed in the MLS. And some basketball talk. A guy that was a first-round draft choice by the Chicago Bulls. He was a center power forward for 7 seasons in the NBA for Chicago, also Seattle, Minnesota, and Detroit. Grew up in Warrensville Heights, Ohio. Still lives there, and he also is the mayor of the city. He's a 7-footer, and he played his college ball at Wisconsin and finally at Ohio State. And after that, he was drafted by the Bulls. We continue with more of you and America's Sports Talk Show.
This is Nick Geber. Join me and Nick Webster for a new episode of 5th Street Soccer, weeknights at 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Channel 211 and the Sports Byline USA radio network.
You're listening to the Sports Byline USA Broadcast Network.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
There's an apparent coup underway in Venezuela, where the Venezuelan opposition leader, who the U.S. supports, Juan Guaido, is trying to force out President Nicolas Maduro. There's been sporadic fighting and tear gas has been launched in the streets of Caracas between forces loyal to Guaido and Maduro. Meanwhile, California Democratic Representative Ro Khanna says the U.S. must show restraint at a time like this.
We condemn Maduro's regime. It's been a failed regime, but we have been saying that the vice president shouldn't be.
Where the rubber always meets the road, I think. Actually, I'm not even sure what that means.
Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, live at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,284. Silver at $14.96. And Bitcoin is trading around $5,251. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Vice President Mike Pence confirmed Tuesday that the Trump administration is firmly on the side of the coup plotters in Venezuela, as violent clashes between the elected government and opposition forces led by Juan Guaido quickly escalated. Mint Press News reports Pence's affirmation of U.S. support for the ongoing coup attempt in Venezuela came just hours after Guaido, surrounded by heavily armed soldiers and armored vehicles, called for a military uprising against the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. Vice President's statement of support for the coup plot was echoed by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and National Security Advisor John Bolton. Bolton, who has repeatedly threatened the elected Venezuelan government in the weeks leading up to Tuesday's attempted coup, urged members of the military to defect and join the side of the coup plotters. Washington significantly escalated its unilateral coercive measures in August 2017, when the Venezuelan government and state oil company were cut off from financial markets. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing for the Muslim Brotherhood to be labeled a terror group, at the urging of Egypt's president, who visited the White House earlier this month. National Security Advisor John Bolton and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reportedly already support the designation, but officials at the Pentagon and elsewhere have been opposed and have been seeking more limited action. A senior U.S. official confirmed the request asked of Trump to make the designation, which Egypt has already done, in a private meeting during a visit to Washington on April 9. The anti-media reports that after the meeting, a bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers raised concerns about Egypt's record on human rights, new legislation to keep the president in office until 2030, and planned Russian arms purchases. If successful, the designation is likely to impact several U.S. mosques and Muslim organizations that have links to Brotherhood-affiliated groups or individuals. A new report on antimicrobial resistance calls for greater action by stakeholders at all levels, lest so-called superbugs claim 10 million lives a year. According to the Mind Unleashed, the report was released Monday by the UN Interagency Coordination Group on Antimicrobial Resistance. The report states, quote, unless the world acts urgently, antimicrobial resistance will have disastrous impact within a generation. The threat of antimicrobial resistance is already deadly, with 700,000 people dying each year as a result of drug-resistant diseases. There's also a problem of inequity and a lack of affordable access, which the report links to the deaths of nearly 6 million people annually, including 1 million children who die of preventable sepsis and pneumonia. Fast forward to 2050, and the report says AMR could cause as many as 10 million deaths each year under a worst-case scenario. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Live, worldwide, Sports Byline USA. And here's host, Ron Barr.
And wherever you might be, across the country and around the world, I'm Ron Barr. Good to have you with us for this hour of Sports Byline, where we're going to kick things off with the author Steve Delson. He's the author of more than a dozen books, including The Bears and Jim Brown's autobiography of Out of Bounds, and he is a New York Times bestseller author and a reporter for ESPN's Outside the Lines. He's also won himself a Peabody Award, and his latest book is called Cardinal and Gold, the Oral History of USC Trojan Football. And I'm always interested in what makes a good oral history, so we will ask them that question right off the top. And, of course, USC, I sit here in San Francisco, and for a period of time I was the play-by-play announcer for Stanford football, and so I saw a lot of USC on the football field, and also while I was doing the basketball broadcast as well. And if you take a look at USC, over the years, they've enjoyed an almost unrivaled level of success. They've won 11 national titles, 38 conference championships, and produced 7 Heisman Trophy winners, 80 All-Americans, and countless NFL stars. From Keyshawn Johnson to Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, some of the most memorable college players have suited up for the Trojans, and under the leadership of coaches like John Robinson and Pete Carroll, they've taken the team to some of the most celebrated big games of all time. And, of course, with Pete Carroll, he won a couple of national championships. Yet, despite that success, perhaps probably no big-time football program has proven as tumultuous as USC. From the battles with the NCAA to bitter internal conflicts to all-out brawls with hated rivals like Notre Dame, the Trojans' dominance has not come without some type of controversy. So we will talk about it as we talk with Steve Delson about his book, Cardinal Gold, the Oral History of USC Trojan Football. And right after that, Scott Fujita will be joining us. You know that name, NFL linebacker who played 11 seasons for the Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, also New Orleans Saints, and the Cleveland Browns. He was a member of the 2009 Saints team that won Super Bowl 44, defeating the Indianapolis Colts, and he played his college ball at Cal. But his legacy really goes beyond his NFL playing career. He speaks out on social issues and is the co-producer of the documentary Gleason. Now, Gleason is about Steve Gleason, a teammate of Fujita's during his playing days with the Saints and who is battling ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and the film is detailed and powerful. It's a powerful visual record of the disease's progression and Steve's battle with it. So we're ready to crank it up. Good to have you with us on Sports Byline.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
A banner year for your company.
Staples wants to help your business achieve big things with 20% back in rewards on your color printing.
Trust the pros at Staples to print whatever your business needs, like color presentations, brochures, and banners.
Prepare yourself for a banner year and banner savings.
With 20% back in rewards on your color printing. Right now at Staples.
Where there's a whole lot in store. And 6/22/19 in-store only. Exclusions apply. See staples.com/20back for details.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents, which means you're going to start telling your kids to clean up before the cleaning lady comes. Doesn't make sense, but you're the parents and they're the kids. You're going to start telling them that now, too. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance. And there's your opening to remind them who pays the bills around here. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Some moms are into flowers and perfume for Mother's Day. That's just not me.
She's an awesome mom. I mean, she's a nurse, so it figures, right?
So when he and the kids gave me Blink security cameras last year for Mother's Day, I loved it.
Yeah, we're both worriers, and we work odd hours.
And with break-ins the next block over, our worst fear was that kids might come home and walk in on someone.
Yeah, and that's why we gave her a Blink security camera for Mom's Day.
Blink cameras are wireless and motion activated, so when they detect something moving around, we get an alert on our Blink smartphone app with a video clip of what it spotted.
Yeah, and Blink lets us know when our kids get home safe and sound.
Best Mom's Day gift ever.
Yeah.
And now through Mother's Day, May 12th, all indoor Blink cameras and systems are 20% off. Yep, 20% off. Home security just got easier. Get the perfect Mom's Day gift at blinkprotect.com/offer. Blinkprotect.com/offer. That's blinkprotect.com/offer. Blink is an Amazon company.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 4422 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 4422. Code 4422. Enjoy.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Steve Delson has joined us on Sports Byline. He's the author or co-author of more than a dozen books, including Dub Bears and Jim Brown's autobiography called Out of Bounds. And Steve is a New York Times bestseller, a writer, and also a reporter for ESPN's Outside the Lines, which he won a Peabody Award for. But his latest book is Cardinal and Gold, The Oral History of USC Trojan Football. Steve, first of all, you've written other oral histories. What subject makes a good oral history?
That's a good question. I like to examine a big brand. I've done oral histories on Notre Dame football, the Los Angeles Dodgers since they moved west, so literally the Los Angeles Dodgers, and American Firefighters, which are all classic institutions. And I think USC football fits in there too. And so I like to, take a look at a big brand, talk to a bunch of people, and see if I can get behind the scenes and give the readers some insights that, they hopefully never heard before.
What do you think it is that has a commonality among all oral histories you've written?
One thing about, for instance, with USC football, Notre Dame football, when these guys are in college, they're not allowed to really say anything. They're under the thumb of their head coaches and the athletic department. So you don't really learn much about what's going on at these schools while these guys are in school. When you talk to them, 10, 20, 30 years later, they're significantly more candid. I think that's the common thread, though, in all my books, is that there's a pretty high level of candor. And you get to, there's famous stories at all these schools, including USC, and I try to kind of get the stories behind the stories, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just to set the scene for you about USC, they've enjoyed an almost unrivaled level of success, having won 11 national titles, 38 conference championships, produced 7 Heisman Trophy winners, 80 All-Americans, and countless NFL stars. And there is something about these type of teams, Notre Dame, as you already mentioned, and also USC. People tend to love to hate them.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I chose these programs, is very few people are neutral. I happen to be neutral. I like to be neutral when I write these books. I don't personally, I don't like reading books by people that hate an institution or love it, because I think you just don't get an honest picture. I grew up in Chicago. I was a Big Ten fan, and I do remember watching USC pretty much every January 1st when I was in high school in the Rose Bowl. And I remember they seemed very glamorous to me from the Midwest. And, now I live in California, and they're really thirsty here for USC to get back on top. They had a tremendous run with Pete Carroll. And then after that, the program's been a little bit of a train wreck, frankly, with Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian. There's been a lot of drama here, and USC fans are really eager to kind of cut back on the drama and start getting up, into the big bowl games again like they have historically.
When you take a look at USC and their success, is there any commonality there as well? During those years with Pete Carroll, John Robinson, and even John McKay, what is it that they did that made them so successful?
Well, they've always recruited well. One of the things I've always wondered about is why UCLA football hasn't been anywhere near USC. I mean, it's pretty solid now with Jim Mora Jr., but I always wondered, it's in Westwood, it's a beautiful campus, it's in L.A., why were they so successful in basketball but not necessarily in football? Whereas USC has enjoyed tremendous recruiting over the years. So that's one thing. The school kind of recruits itself. Even the bad coaches or the lesser coaches that USC has had have still managed to recruit. The other thing, as far as Robinson and McKay, what they had in common was that they were both really big believers in the running game. Carroll, when he came here, was still a believer in the running game, but he had Norm Chow as his offensive coordinator for 4 years. And Chow really opened up the USC offense and was a great offensive coordinator. And USC was scoring a lot of points. And I actually address in the book how those two guys parted ways because they were highly successful, but there was some friction between them. And Chow left to take a job with the Tennessee Titans, and he had never really been a guy who was, dying to coach in the NFL, but he felt like the time was right to get out of USC.
One of the things I observe, having covered USC football as a broadcaster for